Hey, what's up? Welcome to Movie Dumpster Season 3, Episode 30. Today we're talking about Babes in Toyland, a.k.a. March of the Wooden Soldiers from 1934, directed by Gus Maines and Charlie Rogers. I'm Joe Lascola.
I'm Sean O'Rourke.
I'm Connor Barnaby as the VIP of this movie, McGraw.
Welcome to the dumpster.
Well, what's the matter, Mother Peep?
Why, I've got bad news for you.
Bad news?
I'm afraid you two boys will have to find some other place to live.
Well, what do you mean?
That old skinflint Barnaby holds a mortgage against this shoe. It's due today, and I haven't got the money to pay him. And we'll all be turned out into the street.
Stanley, go upstairs and get my money box. Eh? Go get my money box.
Well, what are you going to do?
I'm going to give you all of my savings, and I'll get the rest of it from our master, the toy maker. No one's going to throw you out of this shoe.
Oh, I can't let you do such a thing.
Tut, 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 turut. One good turn deserves another.
God, I love Barnaby in this movie.
He's so good.
So fucking amusing. And also, I like the fact that he looks like a satyr.
Yeah, kinda.
Get that man a pan flute.
Dressed like a pilgrim.
He dresses like someone who's in a stage play featuring pilgrims.
Right.
Like with a big old buckled hat. I love the fact that he has a walking stick that he doesn't use to walk with, he uses to assault people with.
That's the ruse, man.
Yeah, also, he's definitely either a relative or a good friend of Mr. Prune from the Christmas That Almost Wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
We will get to that, for sure. The MDU welcomes another old misery scumbag.
I love that villains from this era, in this kind of movie, are all kind of the same. It's these, like, hunchbacked, old rich men who have funny hats, walking sticks, hilarious facial hair, and all talk like this.
And they live in haunted houses covered in dust.
Yeah, well, right, yeah.
Yeah, they live in these crappy little houses.
They have all that money, but they're too stingy to clean it.
Yeah, they have a servant, though, to make them food or whatever.
He's got a Fritz.
He sure does. So here we are. Happy Thanksgarbage, everybody. It is Thanksgiving Day, and we're talking about one of the quintessential films for the holiday season, just to roll into the Thanksgiving. You got the Thanksgiving, and then you roll right into Christmas with the classic, the Laurel and Hardy classic.
Yes.
March of the Babes in Toyland. March of the Wooden Soldiers.
What is this movie formally called?
Babes in Toyland. So real quick, we don't have to get into trivias right away, but just real quick, this is based off of Victor Herbert's operetta, Babes in Toyland, and that's what the film was originally called. And there's a bit of dispute that we will talk about in a bit, and why it was changed to March of the Wooden Soldiers and what have you.
Okay.
All right, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that because I've always known it as March of the Wooden Soldiers. That's what my dad, introduced it to me as, me and my brothers, and that's what I've always referred to it as. I didn't know till years later that it was also called Babes in Toyland, and I was like perplexed at the time of discovery of that information.
Sure.
I knew it as Babes in Toyland because in elementary school we went and saw a college play version of it, and it was Babes in Toyland.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the operetta.
Yeah.
To Sean's point, I don't even think maybe our grandparents knew it as Babes in Toyland because it was changed to March of the Wooden Soldiers like shortly after that. So our folks, our immediate, our mother's fathers grew up with it as March of the Wooden Soldiers as well. So I mean, we're talking the fucking name change was like in the late 30s, early 40s. So
yeah, let's also take a brief second to acknowledge the fact that this movie is almost 100 years old.
Yes,
guys, let me let you in on a little fact. Today is November 29th. And tomorrow marks the 85th anniversary of this film.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
It was released on November 30th, 1934.
Wow.
Couldn't have planned that one better.
Nope. That was totally by coincidence. I looked up the release date. I was like, holy shit, tomorrow's its 85th anniversary. So
that's nuts.
Yeah, it's the stars aligned.
Also want to say that commemorating the oldest movie we've done on this show.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, before we get cracking into this, before we dig into this giant delicious turkey of a film, I believe we have some wonderful Patreon questions and emails to cover, and I just want to get this out of the way right quick. This episode is mostly going to be just that. It's going to be our appreciation for all of you who listen and support us, and fondly reminiscing about this film. But with that being said, take it away there, Shawnee boy.
I like how you introduced me there. So this is going to be broken up a little bit differently than normal because I have some questions from a few different posts over on Patreon. And you can always head over to our Patreon by going to patreon.com/movie dumpster and sign up for any tier. And you can get behind the scenes stuff like pictures, videos, and, get those commentary tracks we just came out with. The first one, The Legend of Gatorface.
Oh, yeah. You better go get that.
And so at the $2 tier, you get access to all the posts. And at the $5 tier, you get the commentary track. We got a mini-sode that dropped with C.B. Smith, Book to the Movie.
Yeah, our brand new little kind of Patreon-exclusive series we got going now, Book to the Movie.
We don't know how often that's going to happen. We've been talking to Smith about some ideas. He was floating an idea to me that maybe he only does movies that we did, and he hasn't seen the movie, but he only did the book, just to kind of see how we shake out at the end. So we'll see. Maybe we'll do that next time.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Yeah, we were talking about because we just did of Unknown Origin with Tony from Hack the Movies.
Yes.
And that's based on a book, so that would be a fun one to do. Get Smith to read The Visitor, and then we can discuss the differences between the book and the movie. That's pretty much what that special episode is going to be.
I wonder how many of these books it will take him to start cursing our names. Sounds like reading Frankenstein Unbound was a real chore.
Well, he was reading it anyway of his own volition. We didn't make him read that one.
We also have a special Thanksgarbage side dish minisode dropping, I believe, tomorrow. You'll be able to experience Bone Chiller's Franken-Turkey episode that we did as a little follow-up to our this March episode, yeah.
Yeah, when you wake up in the morning, you didn't do all the damn dishes yet because you were so tired after cooking all that shit.
Oh, yeah.
And you break the mashed potatoes out. You don't even really heat them up. You just stick a fork in them and start chowing down. That's this dish you're going to get on the side here.
Oh, yeah, man. Cold sweet potato pie. Sign me up.
There you go. You put the gravy on there, you put it in the microwave, it melts, and you have a delicious dish at 7 a.m.
Listen while you're washing your dishes from the night before. There you go.
You eat again, and then you wash all that shit, and you listen to Movie Dumpster.
And then you fall back to sleep because there's still a whole bunch of tryptophan in that food.
That sounds like a good day to me.
But yeah, you get that with the $5 tier.
And $10 tier, too. Wink, wink, elbow, elbow.
Yeah, and that $10 tier, you also get the Movie Dumpster t-shirt and the enamel pin that glows in the dark. And, of course, the 5 and 10, you also get the wonderful Movie Dumpster sticker pack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get something, too. So it's not just commentaries and minisodes. You're gonna get some MD swag in those Patreon tiers 5 and 10s.
Yeah, with all that out of the way, let's get to the questions. So this first question comes from Daniel Perhaps. And he says, it's the year 1999. And Celebrity Deathmatch is at its peak.
Oh, yeah. I miss that show so much.
The Dumpster Goblin versus the Creep from Creepshow 2.
Oh.
Who would win in this claymation combat of carnage, and what would be their special/finishing moves?
The Dumpster Goblin wins because the kid from the pit interferes and pushes the creep into a pit. Because that's his son, apparently.
So that's what it would have to be, right? Like, the Dumpster Goblin gets the powers from the movies that we did for Trick or Trash.
Oh, man, he's got Trogdor?
Oh, yeah, he's got Trantor from Ernest Scared Stupid. He's got the Tra-La-Logs. He even has Sherry Belafonte, too, on his side.
Summons her, she bites you on the neck, turns you into a vampire spawn.
There you go. But the Creep also has access to... Now, he said Creepshow 2.
Correct.
So does that count? So I would assume that the original Creepshow denizens do not count. So we have, what do we got? Chief Woodenhead.
That's a pretty good ally to have, though.
Yo, Chief Woodenhead's a bad dude. He's a badass dude.
And the Blob.
The tar monster is really overpowered.
Oh, yeah, well, but he has to be in water, right?
Yeah, it's like a little kiddie pool next to fucking... It's a ring.
And then the Thanks for the Ride lady guy, the zombie.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, you can just pick him up and hit people with him because he's indestructible.
That's true, yeah. He throws himself at you. Thanks for the ride, lady.
Unfortunately, you're right, Joe. You don't get Ted Danson.
No. You don't get Fluffy.
No, you don't get Leslie Nielsen either, or Dad with the birthday cake either.
No, yeah. You don't get, yep.
Or the Father's Day cake, excuse me, not the birthday cake.
Yeah, no Ed Helms or Adrian Barbeau for you.
No, you also don't get Tom Atkins either. Voodoo Doll? Nope. None of that.
That's right.
But yeah, I think Dumpster Goblin. I think he's got remember from Smash Brothers? I think it was Brawl, where they had the what were they called? Their specials, the Final Smashes.
Yeah.
They changed it in the more recent games, but Kirby used to have this fucking Final Smash where he took out a cooking pot and he sucked everybody in.
Oh yeah.
That'd be the Dumpster Goblin. He's got the cauldron. He's sucking you in, but you get compacted like it's a Mortal Kombat fatality.
I imagine it's more like summoning Knights of the Round from Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
The Dumpster Goblin just starts summoning all these fucking figures from the MDU, and they just come along and get a big old fucking hit.
Oh, sure.
See, that's the thing. Dumpster Goblin has the literal power of the MDU. So, I don't know. Tom Savini is no match for that, I don't think.
No. Even with the powers of Trantor, turning his opponent into wood and shit like that.
Trantor versus Chief Woodenhead. There you go. That's an even match, right?
Whoa. Yeah, actually, I kind of want to see that. Yeah, now you put that out there.
Would that work like old Mortal Kombat logic, where if you threw an ice ball at someone twice, it just freezes you?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, I guess, right?
So Trantor just turns to wood like his first turn.
Oh, man. That's fucked up.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. I just assumed it wouldn't work, but that's a good way of looking at it.
Dumpster Goblin, because...
I mean, we're also kind of biased, to be totally fair.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's the word I was looking for. I'm just kind of biased because, why not, right? I just want to see Celebrity Deathmatch with that. Some stop-motion stuff.
With full clay, puppeteering and stuff. I don't want to see a reboot without that.
No, you can't have it. It has to be stop motion.
I agree.
So yeah, Dumpster Goblin, I think, comes out victorious in that one.
Oh yeah, hat trick.
Or it's one of those things where they destroy each other, and it's just like a big bloodbath. Maybe.
Yeah.
Marilyn Manson cuts the lights down and smushes them both. Again.
Get it on. Yes.
Then we have a question from Nick Lowry, and this was in response to the Franken-Turkey post, so just to give it a little context here.
Okay, there you go.
And he says, turkey teeth versus chicken teeth. Which is more rare?
Do they have teeth in their beaks?
I honestly don't know. In either case, I'm gonna probably go with turkey teeth because I did the visual of that. I'm just picturing them with big fucking saber-toothed tiger teeth hanging down.
When I think of a fowl with teeth, I always think of the goose from Rugrats when he has Grandpa's dentures in his mouth.
Oh yeah.
So maybe the goose, and we'll cook that goose. There you go.
Was the question which one's more rare?
Yes.
I'm not sure. I mean, do they have teeth in their beaks? Are they little tiny razors or something?
I don't know. I'm so taken aback with the question. I'm actually Googling it right now because I don't know at all.
I was gonna say in Franken-Turkey, that fucking turkey had teeth.
Well, that fucking thing's mouth was made out of a goddamn jumper cable. So yeah.
Yeah.
Giant metal teeth.
Wow. Do turkeys have teeth? Is the second Google suggestion.
Well, the verdict is
turkeys do not have teeth.
Okay. Well,
so it must be pretty damn rare.
But they do have 2 stomachs.
Interesting. They're like fucking Melmacians, dude. Oh wait, Alf has 3 stomachs, right? Yeah. Do chickens have teeth?
Chickens don't have teeth.
I would have to guess, just if I had to put an actual answer on this, Nick. If life was an RPG, let's say, when you kill the chickens, if you got any teeth, they're probably worth 5 silver. And if you got any turkey teeth from killing turkeys, they're probably worth 10 silver, just because they're bigger, harder to kill.
I'm feeling a little tug at my back, and I think it's because he's pulling my chain, is what I think.
Oh.
Now, if you were to ask me what I think is scarier, a turkey or a chicken with teeth, a turkey definitely by a country mile, because turkeys are already terrifying.
Sure.
And they're smarter, too, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
I hope that answers all your curiosities about turkey and chicken teeth there, Nick.
I wonder if this is just to make one of us Google if turkeys or chickens have teeth.
That's what I'm saying. Is it just a goof?
Moving on along. We have a question here from Justin Kiefer.
Hey, Justin. He's one of our newest patrons, I believe.
Yes, he is. And I had asked in this post what you guys are thankful for, because this was our Thanksgarbage episode. Figured, let's hear from the dwellers, the dumpster dwellers. What are you guys thankful for?
Yeah.
And right off the bat here, with some kind words from Justin. He says, I'm thankful for your podcast and given nothing but hilarious quality entertainment all these years. Well, thank you, Justin.
Thank you so much. So I guess Justin's been a long-time listener then, so thank you.
All these years, God.
Yeah, right. No, that's a good point, Connor. Right? It doesn't feel like that to me, but I guess it has been.
Three seasons, yeah, three years.
Coming up on 4 very soon.
Oh, yeah.
And he continues, would love to see you guys at a convention like Midsummer Scream sometime.
We were talking about that before this whole pandemic thing happened. We actually had big plans to start hitting the conventions with a table and do like some live stuff from the table itself. So, I mean, when this wraps up, finally, and we're allowed to, go outdoors and get together in big groups again, that's definitely going to be on the list. So we will see you there for sure.
Yeah, but until then, you won't catch me dead on an airplane.
Nope.
It's not happening.
Yeah, me either.
Connor, if you start walking now, will you be here in time for my wedding next year?
Will I survive the walk?
Just go full Rambo on somebody at one point or another.
Yeah.
He gets here, he looks like fucking
Like fucking Forrest Gump.
he shows up like Terry O'Quinn, but like from Lost. His head shaved.
Oh, God.
He's got a fucking hula skirt on. He's got like a grass skirt on and shit. He's half feral, when he comes over.
I've somehow joined the Hells Angels. Like, just a lot of shit has happened.
He only sleeps on the floor because like the bed is too soft for him,
Right.
Exactly.
Scary thought. And then he says, my question, if you could make a musical out of any film in the MDU, which would it be?
Oh, my God.
My immediate response is Munchie. Imagine that guy. He's already loves to sing. Just give him the whole fucking movie just to keep it going.
Yeah.
Everyone would just, do themselves in before the movie ended. He wouldn't stop singing Hello, My Baby for fucking 90 minutes.
I think I would pick the Rune Stone because it's like that you can make it like a 4-part like epic. Like a big opera.
Yeah.
Equilibrium.
Oh my God, that would be great.
I also want to throw a bonus answer in because we joked about this in Phantom Zone for a long time. We think that Batman vs Superman would be a lot better if it was a musical.
I'm going to agree with that statement.
What about Rumpelstiltskin?
That would be a good one too. It wouldn't be as epic.
I'm coming for the baby John. I smell a baby named Johnny.
But it includes that, the My Kind of World song, but it's like a fully orchestrated piece.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it would be a giant like ensemble piece. Like it would be like one of those medleys. Like
yeah, My Kind of World.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining that like on a Broadway play. Somebody walking around like cutting a head off and putting fucking sunglasses on and driving a Mack truck off a cliff and saying, "Fucketh me."
Here, let me make it easy for you.
There's backup dancers dressed as pickup trucks.
What is the steed made of metal?
Like a giant pair of sunglasses comes down the set. Give it, and like that's the thing, give it stupidly high production values. Like make it as expensive looking as Wicked.
There's a whole fucking song about sticking a broom handle in his throat.
Oh yeah, the chaff. You don't want that in there.
No.
What about Shakes the Clown? That could be a pretty good musical.
Yeah, something like Rent, but it Shakes the Clown. Yeah.
Yeah. I could see that being really funny.
I could honestly see that being adapted by Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
Right, yeah.
Without any effort whatsoever.
Like Book of Mormon or something? Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe.
I mean, who doesn't want to hear Binky singing about how evil he is or some shit?
But it has to be Tom Kenny or else no deal.
Right. I don't care how old he is.
I would look forward to his solo performance in that movie where he sings Red Letter Day.
Oh my God.
How good does that sound?
It's a red letter day for Binky.
Unless you guys got any other ones, I think that kind of those were the ones that came to mind for me.
I think those are the big ones for sure.
I mean, unless you're going to do Frankenstein Unbound, I guess that would be the only other big one.
I was going to pick that, but like I feel like they've done that already.
Yeah, I feel like it's ubiquitous.
Right.
Yeah.
If it hasn't been done, what are you waiting for, people out there?
I'm waiting for Dracula Unbound, okay?
Okay, that's fair. Our next question comes from Nicholas Walters, and he says, I'm thankful for my wife and daughter who is about 15 months old already, which is crazy. My daughter, not my wife, to clarify. Thanks for that clarification, Nicholas. Didn't need it, but it just made it kind of a little bit more awkward than it needed to be.
Before it got awkward, right? Yeah, okay.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. And he says, my question would be, how would this movie turn out if instead of Mother Peep, it was GVD? Any differences?
Oh.
See, here's the thing. You know it's coming up in this fucking episode regardless.
She would have taken Barnaby upstairs and just dealt with it. Like,
She would have fucked him into oblivion, and that would have been the movie.
she would have been like, why you want to take her? She's so little and inexperienced.
She lifts up her fucking dress. Hey, Barnaby, what did you say you come crawl under here? Why don't you do that?
Barnaby just turns to bones. She's just like, ah!
I'll show you a bogeyman.
He would have either succumbed to it or, like, left town. He would have, like, no other option.
Come after my shoe, motherfucker.
Yeah, right?
If GVD, like, we're going to talk about it when we get into the actual movie, but if GVD, like, if her brothel, her shoe brothel, was
oh my God,
about to be taken over by a debtor, she's not gonna just give up.
No.
She's gonna go in for it. So she's gonna constantly be trying to fuck this guy. Or kill him. I mean, it is GVD we're talking about here.
she's gonna let that fucking rat loose, dude.
She would never deal with a debtor. Like, she would probably put the rest of the town in debt to her.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I like Joe's idea though. He released the rat into his fucking house, and he's got a Peter Weller situation.
Destroys Barnaby's mansion, yeah, or whatever.
Someone just finds a half-devoured corpse, like, days later.
Barnaby goes into his boiler room, and he's got a replica of his house in there.
With his fucking stick trying to kill it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, GVD lived in a shoe. She had so many concubines, and she didn't know what to do.
She knew exactly what to do. She just had trouble making up her mind.
I'm gonna fuck them all. You know I can.
I have so many ideas.
Come into my basement.
I could run Toyland for years.
Me and Cloris Leachman are gonna show you how it's done.
Who run Toyland? Granny Van Dam run Toyland.
Meet my two best earners, Ollie and Stanny.
Oh, poor Stan and Ollie working for GVD.
Hey, they gotta pay their keep somehow.
Yeah.
She's like fucking Tina Turner from Thunderdome. She makes everybody they get into a big fucking, like, a toy dome. 2 toys enter, 1 toilet.
And the king is there. He's like, yes, so be it. Make it so. Somebody woke me up from my nap.
That fucking uncooked turkey that is the king of this movie.
We'll get to him. I'm old King Cole. Get it?
Our next question comes in from Dustin Elkins, and he says, I'm thankful for Charnetsky's ever-growing desire for chunky chicken and the extremes Dobby goes through to get it.
Dobby is a little soldier, isn't he?
Yeah.
Brings a tear to your eye, don't it?
I think he's just sick of getting shot in the head. Anytime he doesn't do what he's asked to, it's just like a worse punishment.
He's just making the best out of an eternally crappy situation.
Dude, even when he does, Charnetsky still kills him. So
good job, Dobby.
This is cold.
I think Gunner's the only one that rarely pulls the trigger. I mean, I'm not going to say he doesn't ever. I mean, let's not even kid ourselves, but...
Well, Haggerty is biased against elves, and...
Sure.
I think Gunner is just like, hey, can you keep it down? I'm trying to watch the fucking Cubs game.
Oh, yeah, the Cubs are losing. Dobby comes in. He says some kind of comment about a sock or something along those lines, and Gunner just says, that's enough.
Oh, yeah. He takes out his fucking aggression from the sports game on him. Yep, that's what happens.
But he doesn't really like to mess with Gunner because Gunner, rarely does he use a pistol. He just goes right for the chainsaw, and that's a painful death, and Dobby doesn't want to experience that if he can avoid it.
Oh, it sure is. He fucking clocks him with the hammer. He fucking hangs him on a hook in the kitchen. That's what happens.
Dobby's life is miserable. Just end it, Mr. Hanson.
No, I think I'll just put you on the hook for now.
I wonder what would happen if Gunner asked Haggerty to, give him some kind of, leather face mask made out of Dobby faces. What would happen? Would those just, disappear when Dobby died? Or would he have, an actual leather face mask, that looks like Dobby with a bunch of different, Dobby bodies, I guess? I guess they're technically not resurrections.
Are you telling me that instead of respawning wholly, his body is left over and they have to, put the body somewhere? Like Ego, right? On Ego's planet?
I mean that was the origination of the... in the beginning of this joke, that was the whole thing. Potter comes in and buries him, and then he reappears.
Oh, yeah.
So I always assumed that there was still a body in whatever plane he was left. I don't know if it, disappears after, a few minutes, or they got to get rid of it. I'm not really sure.
Oh, my God.
It just disappears.
Right. I think that's a little too easy, though.
Haggerty ends up stitching this thing together. He's like, come on, make that fucking doll there, Haggerty. And he's like, oh, geez, why do I have to do this all the time? Whatever. And he fucking puts them together, and then that fucking Dobby becomes Dark Dobby? It becomes sentient?
I mean, that's a disturbing thought if it's a bunch of skinned-together Dobbies this is some kind of...
Sounds like a Silent Hill monster.
Yeah.
It's all stitched together? You gotta watch out for that. That can happen. Yeah, you're supposed to burn the body, after you're done, on a pyre. But Charnetsky gets fucking, he gets too overzealous, man. He's like, I don't give a shit. Let's fucking stitch that goddamn little thing together so I could punch it while I send it to go get chicken.
Okay, so now Dobby's a Crimson Head? This is getting more and more uncomfortable.
He could be. I think that's another one.
These are supposedly the good guys, like the heroes of the MDU, and they treat Dobby like fucking dog shit.
Well, they don't consider him a being, you know? I mean, he's just there for their amusement.
I mean, let's be honest. Like, Hurt's not going to treat this guy any better. He's going to probably treat him worse at the end of the day.
And that's why Ernest is the patron saint of the MDU, because he is the ultimate beacon of goodness.
Come here, little fella. I'll keep you safe as long as I can.
Dustin continues, but he says, my question is, how well do you think 100 Clint Howards at 6 feet high would sell?
What? Would sell?
Well, who's buying?
Like their livestock?
Somebody definitely fucked that order up. For sure.
Are they wooden Clint Howards like in this movie? Are they actual, like, are they clones?
You push a button on his back and he says like 4 different phrases.
I'm infested!
I'm infested!
It's all that Clint Howard.
Yeah, he explodes.
It's not even like a mix. It's not like Raghead and Ice Cream Man and the one from Tix. It's just the one from Tix.
But every time you get one, it comes in a box with a question mark on it. You have no idea which one you're getting until you press the button.
Mr. Blind Box Mystery Clint Howard in a giant fucking Frankenstein crate.
Yup, and then like sometimes you push a button, you're like, oh fuck, I got evil speed Clint Howard, and then he decapitates you with a claymore.
Oh man, I got Waterboy Clint Howard.
Or if it's true to the MDU, maybe it's like one of those old action figures where they had like the multiple faces and you had to like spin it or hit a switch or something.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
When you do hit that button, like you guys are saying, it's random, but the head changes. Mm-hmm. And whatever head appears, you get a different personality.
There you go.
So you kind of want like particular Clints, otherwise you're kind of fucked. You order this Clint and you're like, oh, I really hope it's not the Ice Cream Man one. And it's the Ice Cream Man one, and then they cut your fucking head off and serves it as ice cream to your neighbors.
Or you get the Carnosaur one, and he's just like, I gotta go drive a truck. Come on, I gotta deliver those eggs.
Right.
And you're like, this is stupid. This is boring.
You get the House of the Dead one, and he's talking about like the island and why do they always say why?
He's got that fucking hook hand though. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, he's got that to attack you with.
That's right, because he's also the killer, and I know you did that summer.
Yeah, he starts leaving notes around your house.
Clint, I know you know what I did. You were sitting right there when I was doing it.
And when you really hope when you're like in a debate with somebody, you get the rughead Clint.
Yeah.
Because then he can, go, if you win, you get this. If you win, you get this. All right, now fight.
Not only is he a great lawyer, but he could fix your car too.
Yeah, he opens it up.
Soups it up, dude. He fucking builds you the wheelchair from Silver Bullet.
The titular Silver Bullet. Yeah, I got the plans from Gary Busey. So I guess the answer is it would be a shit show if this happened.
Yeah, it would be. If I tell you one thing, well, you know what? It's the all-out war in the MDU, right? And John Hurt's forces are coming. You fucking run into that warehouse. You press all those fucking buttons on all those Clint Howard's backs, and they come out. And they fucking help. They fucking tackle. Yeah,
that would be the most annoying army ever assembled. It's just a bunch of guys going,
yeah, half of them attack and the other half go after you as you're hitting the buttons.
It's enough percentage where like most of them fight the Bogeymen, so it's like whatever.
Right. Now, yeah, I mean, you might get lucky.
It's just an army that doesn't shut the fuck up. The opposing force just leaves. So like, we're not dealing with this.
Oh, I don't know, man.
I just want to see the ones that are like infested with ticks that just like run up to the enemy and explode.
Oh yeah, those are the ones you want, right?
Ideally in a war against Bogeymen. And
yeah.
Because John Hurt's getting Bogeymen by the end of this episode.
Oh, he is. Well, because Barnaby's on fucking John. He's power of evil. Sure.
Oh, absolutely.
So are the Tick Clint Howards like the fucking orcs from Helm's Deep that just fucking run to the bottom of it and just blow it up?
Bazooka! And he's just like, I'm infested! And he just runs into the... Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
I love it.
Then we have a question here from Brendan Lemune.
Hey, Brendan.
Less of a question and more of a statement. And he says he's thankful for his barbecue cozy.
Oh, well, you're very welcome. You won it fair and square.
Little koozie boy.
Yeah.
They're pretty nice. And he says, it keeps my hand warm, but my beer cold. Well, I'm glad it's working as intended then.
I'm glad it's doing that very specific function it was built for.
I love it.
And our next question comes from the Autistic Gamer 89. And he says, I'm grateful for my family, friends, and still being employed at my very first job ever.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. That's great.
Yeah. And he says, and my wonderful girlfriend, Ashley. Question, what are some of you guys' favorite childhood video games?
Oh, fuck. Right away, Donkey Kong Country 1 and Mega Man X3. I dumped an inhuman amount of time into those, and so much that, like, if you hand me Cheez-Its, which was my big-time childhood comfort food, it instantly takes me back.
I'm going to say Sonic and the original Sonic the Hedgehog and Yoshi's Island. And, I mean, there's just so many. I mean, like, Donkey Kong was a big one. Mortal Kombat was a big one. Well, specifically Mortal Kombat 2, I remember, and 3 when that dropped, for sure.
Yeah. If I got to go with my teenage years, Legacy of Kain. Just straight up.
Yeah, because when PlayStation came out, I mean, and I got to play, I played the first Resident Evil and Resident Evil 2. That was great.
Oh, yeah.
I love those games. Oh, and of course, like Link to the Past.
Sure. All-time classic.
Ocarina of Time, fucking Super Mario 64, GoldenEye. Played a lot of GoldenEye.
SmackDown. SmackDown, No Mercy when wrestling games were good.
Yeah.
Oh, WrestleMania 2000 was my favorite.
Yeah, No Mercy. Put a lot of hours into that back in the day. Like Super Mario Brothers, like the original, played a shit ton of that. And 1 and 3 were the two we played a lot of in my household.
Yeah.
And the original Ghostbusters game, well, not the original. Like we had the one for NES and it sucked ass, but we still played it. But we had the one for Sega Genesis, which was actually really good.
I never got that. One.
You could play as Venkman, Stans, or Spangler. Couldn't play as Winston, so of course it had to be that like weird shit where it's like, we don't have the black guy in it.
Well, Winston's not on the posters, so...
Right, I don't know, it's weird. But the game's very good. It has all their likenesses. And it's like a side scroller. You can get like power ups and shit. I don't know why I'm going off about it, but yeah, that was a game we played a lot of as kids. And then like Joe said, like Ocarina of Time, Super Mario 64, Super Metroid's another one that always comes up, and then the list goes on.
I actually got more into regular Nintendo as I got a little bit older because I would play it as a kid, and I play like Super Mario 2 and shit like that, but like. It broke or something, and I hadn't played it for years, and then like my uncle had because my uncles and my old man had a video game rental store that I've talked about, but he had a fucking brand new NES just like in a box in his attic, and I remember getting it. He gave it to me when I was like 16, and I played a shit ton of Gyrus and Life Force.
Nice.
I'm gonna throw a special mention at Turtles in Time.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. Oh my god. How could you forget?
Yeah, exactly. That game was on rotation a lot.
So good. And Ninja Turtles 2 for NES.
Yeah, not the first one.
Not the first one.
Or Ninja Turtles for NES, the Manhattan Project, was pretty damn good. Other ones that just come to mind real quick.
Castlevania.
Well, Castlevania Symphony of the Night is always a classic that I try to go back to every couple of years because it's on Xbox.
Yeah.
Rayman 2 is a great game.
Ooh.
I mean, they've made a ton of other Rayman games since then that were very good. I'm not necessarily saying going back to Rayman 2, but I used to like try to beat that game like once a year. Really, really good game.
I loved Shadows of the Empire. I want to fire that up again.
Well, that's because that game is like a full-on Lucasfilm production. Like,
yeah.
That was a big media enterprise for them.
I remember playing that because I couldn't hook up the 64 to the big TV in the living room because, like, when I got a chance to play it, my dad was, like, watching TV, so we hooked it up in my parents' room on their TV in their room, their little tube TV, and I remember, like, vividly... I don't know if any of you at home had to do this, but like it was one of those situations where I had to like plug the fucking console in and then like pull it out as far as I could, like as far as the wires would let me, and then like balance it on something and then get close enough to like sit on the bed but still be able to play. Like,
oh yeah, well you got the wired controller.
Yeah. So you had to like finagle that, right? Because it wasn't set up to like play games in front of or whatever. Because it was like on a bureau or some shit. Anyway, case in point, I vividly remember fighting Boba Fett and the Slave One in that one level, and I fucking died a million times, and I finally beat him, and I was just button mashing like crazy just to fucking shoot him to death because the fucking laser has to your gun has to recharge.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you want die a million deaths, like I still play this game because luckily I have the console for it. I just don't have a memory card. Bushido Blade.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
one of the best fighting games ever made. There's nothing like it on the market. Absolutely nothing. If you don't know what it is, it's a sword fighting game, but a single hit can end the fight.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome. And there's a mode in there called Slash Mode, which is a gauntlet where you fight 100 ninjas one at a time, and if you die, you go back to the previous 10th. And there's a big secret that, there's a big reward, I think. You can get a character that has a gun if you beat it without dying.
Oh, that's pretty neat. And then you just fucking shoot all the ninjas.
And at that point, if you beat it without dying, you deserve the gun in a sword fighting game.
Sure.
Chrono Trigger, probably one of the best games ever made. I don't know. I could list a lot of games. I play a lot of fucking video games. Final Fantasy 3, 4. Not a big fan of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Having the classic consoles come out has let me play a lot of games that I didn't get a chance to play when I was a kid.
Sure.
Without having to pay for them or anything, because I hacked my my SNES Classic and I just dumped a ton of fucking games on there. So I'm revisiting shit what is it, Nevermore?
I never played that one.
Yeah, it's a really cool RPG. There's a few other ones too, but I also put on the Alien vs Predator arcade game on there and shit.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's pretty neat. I like being able to go revisit those games easily in an emulator format, but also play it through the Super Nintendo, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there was a period of time, into my teens, I was still remembering Mega Man X passwords. I could recall them by heart.
But we come to our last Patreon question, and this one comes from Jacob Fonsbick. Hey guys, love everything you're doing and love when Tony comes to visit.
I mean, we all do.
So do we.
You gotta come back again, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Soon. His question is the stuff from the titular movie The Stuff really just Cumdar's cum?
You know it is, baby. They're milking his dick under that ground.
Oh my god.
It's gotta be, right?
I'm just thinking of the Slurm Queen from Futurama, this just giant fucking horrible beast.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm thinking about all these people eating his cum and turning into fucking zombies. What would you call them instead of stuffies? They're cummies, right?
Ow!
Chocolate Chip Charlie just fucking throws up Cumdar and he
starts laughing.
Yeah.
As he's flying through that fucking sound booth.
I've infiltrated your base or whatever.
Jacob, I think you've already figured out the joke for that episode when we finally get around to it. You figured it out for us. I mean, we probably would have landed there, but
Get ready for the most predictably immature episode we'll ever do.
It's kind of what we do, you know?
I know, but that one, that is so easily telegraphed. They're gonna do stuff? Yeah, endless cum jokes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's a pretty big one, right? They're just...
Yeah.
That's a movie that's been on the quote-unquote list for a while. We just haven't done it yet, so maybe next year.
We totally should. Also, I love the idea of, somehow Cumdar, getting imprisoned in stone or something and, can't get out of it, even though he can become liquid, but being milked by people for his cum, and then
what is it, lactate from his nipples?
I don't know, dude, from his dicks that hang down on his off his head and his actual dong.
The whole statue should just be drippy all the time, like he is, and then it's just there's constantly cum dripping off of it.
He's just the Xeno Queen from Aliens. He's just looked at this big, horrifying fucking hive.
Oh God!
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's all buried, but his dick is hanging out of the ground, and they're just milking it.
Like a fire hydrant? Just sitting there?
They're filling up those fucking stuff trucks with his dick. They just plug it right in.
We've discovered this fossilized structure. We don't know what it does.
But it tastes delicious.
Or why it was built.
I love the idea of somebody hey, there's some white shit coming out of the ground. Let's taste it.
That guy totally just bends out and starts eating that shit.
This is delicious.
Mo goes in there, he investigates it, he sees this big fucking Cumdar statue with the fucking stuff getting manufactured out of it.
He just shoots himself.
Dude, now I'm just thinking about, we're going to probably make these jokes again a year from now, but I'm just thinking about the kid when he eats the shaving cream. Imagine if he really ate the stuff. It's he ate Cumdar's,
Hey, sometimes you just got to eat some cum. Michael Moriarty's there. He's like, hey, you like the way that tastes? Okay.
My God.
So, Jacob, there's your answer.
There you go.
I'm sure you already knew what the answer was going to be.
He fucking just signed up and he came out swinging with that one. I like him.
Yes.
I mean, I love you all, but still, that was a good one.
Way to read the room.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's everything for Patreon. We had a stuffed bird this week, just in time for Thanksgarbage. So thanks, everyone, for writing in.
I actually have a couple emails to read as well.
Oh, there you go. Get the fucking cranberries out now.
Our first one comes from John Elkin, who has written in before. He says, hello, I hope you're all well. I hadn't listened in a while, so yesterday I sat down for a good binge. Well, thank you. Thoroughly enjoyable, although I felt an odd rush of sympathy for Clint Howard.
I wonder why.
You may be among the first.
Definitely not Leonardo. Leonardo's like, what sympathy? Fuck him.
Let's put bugs inside of him.
Well, here it comes. He says, I got over it pretty quickly and thought jiggers. I'm not currently a Patreon subscriber, so I won't ask questions, but in answer to the question, what should Clint Howard be infested by, I would like to submit jiggers. Are jiggers the same thing as chiggers?
Hang on.
What is a jigger? He said, because he says, I was going to include a link, but that's something you should decide to look at rather than having it thrown at you.
Oh, in that case, challenge accepted.
Okay, he says, go to YouTube and enter jigger removal for a taste of what's in store for Mr. Howard.
Oh, fuck this. They are fleas and oh no. No thanks. Holy shit.
This is why I didn't look it up. I waited for one of you guys to.
You know, what's that phobia called where you can't look at things with holes in it?
Holophobia?
There's a specific name for it, but like...
Oh, I don't know.
It's that kind of triggering where it's just, these things are... Nope. I'm good. Never looking that up again.
So in other words, my fiance Julie would love it, is what you're telling me, yeah.
Sure. I don't know.
She likes to watch like the pimple popping videos and the bot fly removals and stuff.
I mean, there's that aspect, but there's also what happens when you take them all out.
Oh yeah, it's just a crater.
It's just lots of crevices, and no thanks, I'm good.
But put those all over Clint Howard? Is that what he's saying?
That's what he's saying. He's gonna give them all to Clint.
Turn him into a fucking honeycomb.
He says, anyway, sorry to be late to the party. Thanks and take care. Well, thanks, John. I appreciate you writing in again.
Thank you.
And then we have my favorite email that we've gotten so far. This is a good one. This man names himself only, or it could be a woman, or anything in between, as Blues' Reviews. Hey guys, please refer to me as Blues. It's my online handle, and I just not want people to know my real name, but I wanted to share with you guys how I found your podcast, because I think it's a pretty unique story. And again, thank you for reviewing Devin's Ghost. I know you all hated it, but I find it funnier than The Room... This
fucking movie keeps coming up lately. I don't know why.
It's just mostly boring. It is funny though. Like I think we said watch a best of clip.
Yeah.
Show on like YouTube or something.
I will like. There's been some time between that. Like I can't say I really hate it anymore, especially considering what some of the stuff we've watched. Like it offers a brand new perspective.
Sure. Pluto Nash.
Yeah, exactly. But like that movie is fucking hilarious at times because some of the stuff that happens is so out of nowhere and so unexpected. Like once you're watching a slasher film and they just break into a full-on Matrix fight sequence, you're like, okay,
with actors from the Power Rangers series.
Exactly.
It's definitely one of those things where it's like just YouTube the fight scenes because they're kind of fun, but the rest of the movie is ass.
Yeah.
Please watch the finale, the climax where the Black Ranger is covered in blood and drop kicks a man off a cliff. It's the fucking best.
Johnny Young Bosch is a fucking treasure in that film.
Yes.
So he goes on with the story. So about 3 years ago, which is how long we've been doing the show, I wanted to start a podcast where I talked about movies I enjoyed but didn't have the attention I thought they deserved. Most of these are very low budget, and a lot of which you guys have done by now. But for the better part of like 3 months, I was trying to think of a name and slogan, and then the perfect name popped into my head. Movie Dumpster, where one man's trash is another man's treasure. So I go on Google and Apple Podcasts to see if it was taken. Google had no results at the time. So just to be sure, I checked iTunes, and there you guys were. I think I was about 3 or 4 episodes in, so I thought I'm going to listen to these guys and see if they're any good. And if you guys sucked, I was going to take the name right from underneath you. But we all see where that plan ended up.
Oh, my God.
Still waiting on that Pinocchio's Revenge review, by the way, and congrats on getting to 100 episodes. To close out, I'd like to recommend some more movies I'd like to see you review eventually. Bad Kids Go to Hell, Bad Kids of Crestview Academy, Dead End, Dolly Dearest, which is definitely on the docket at some point, The Editor, Vampire's Kiss, Student Bodies.
Oh, Vampire's Kiss, we gotta do it, please.
Yeah, no, sure. Student Bodies is a good one, too. The Woods, The Wicked, Going Back, Running Time, Rookie of the Year, which we are most certainly doing next year. Shrink, If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th. Okay, I just wanted to comment on that one real quick. Wasn't that like a fucking made-for-USA spoof movie that wasn't Scary Movie, but it was some other bullshit, and like Tom Arnold's in it? Or whatever.
I definitely remember it being made for TV.
Yeah.
Oh, if Tom Arnold's in it, maybe it might be up our alley. Fang? Bring him back into the fold?
It's possible. I got to see how much of a part he plays in it again.
Probably 1 minute.
Rat Race, which
I love Rat Race.
Yeah, the original, like, it's a mad world, or
the stupid ass one with Mr. Bean and John Cleese.
They're both good for different reasons.
Sure.
Yeah, and John Cleese is off his fucking rocker in that movie. It's amazing.
I'll say this, like, that is a pretty good movie. I mean, I don't think it's a classic or anything personally, but it's not really, I mean, I guess I wouldn't say 100% we wouldn't do it, but it's not necessarily in the vein of the type of stuff we do on this show, but a lot of those other ones, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and he closes out with, and if you're not opposed to foreign films, versus. So a couple things. We may or may not be doing an entire month dedicated to foreign films next year. Also, when we were forming this podcast, I've told some of this story before where I was going to do a show with Sean, I was going to do a show with Connor separately, and then we all kind of came together and made this show. But when I remember specifically like talking about names, how could we, what would encompass the show where it wasn't like, we hated any of these movies, but was broad enough to where we could kind of do anything in the bad movie realm, whether it be horror or action or whatever, and still be able to have the opinion of, oh, we really liked it or we really didn't like it, right? And we initially came up with Movie Dump. Remember that?
Yeah.
And there was somebody else that had Movie Dump, or there was like a website that existed.
It was either, it was Movie Dump or Film Dump. It was like close enough. They were like, I don't know if we want to go with that.
Film Dumpster is totally a thing. It's like a blog or some shit. But we were like, whatever, who cares? Because it's different enough,
Yeah, and sometimes you'll see online, I mean, anytime you're doing a project like this, if you Google a name, it's like, okay, well, either these people are active and they have a thing, or, they have a name and they haven't done anything with it in 2 years. Now, Movie Dumpster, nobody had done anything with at all at the time, but
nobody did Movie Dumpster, I don't think, at all. It was the name itself is its own thing, but Film Dumpster specifically, they cover like new movies.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I remember when we were researching and making sure everything was copacetic with the direction we wanted to go in with the show and like the name and stuff. But yeah, here we are 3 years later, and I guess we don't suck? ?
That is my favorite part of the story, is that like he was like, those bastards, well, they better be funny. And it's like 2 episodes later, he's like, they're so lucky. Like,
they're so lucky they're funny. So I guess thank you for the backhanded compliments and slightly sour grapes.
Hey, but they listen. They asked for that Pinocchio's Revenge review, so we got them on the hook.
Sure. It's coming. Don't worry. That's going to be kicking up. We like to plan our movies, obviously, as everybody's been following. We have our MD guide at the top of each month to tell you what's coming. We like to kind of plan it out and pick movies that kind of mesh well together, whether it be for themes or the weather or how they make us feel in general, or for specific event months, right? Try to make that fun for you and have that flow nice and hit you with some good stuff. So it's stay tuned.
Yes.
But thank you, Blues Reviews.
Yeah, I'm also very amused by the idea of someone doing like a rage-induced podcast binge.
I'm so mad I'm going to listen to this podcast.
You're like, oh, let me just fucking listen to all this shit.
I hate you because you're great.
Damn you. Honestly, this is like a really like it's a very sincere like pseudo review of the show.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. Like I love it a lot.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And yeah, so that's all of the emails, and we appreciate you guys writing in. And please, if you want to write into us, join up for that, sign up for that Patreon, write us an email, let us know, send us a message, and we'll read it on air for you. But without further ado, let's talk Babes in Toyland, a.k.a. March of the Wooden Soldiers. I don't know when this, so this is the big thing that I didn't look up for this. I don't know when this became a Thanksgiving tradition. I guess because that's when it came out, right? Like around the same time. And again, 85th anniversary is tomorrow.
But is it still being played every year? Like,
I know it was like shown on TV for years and years and years, decades really, on Thanksgiving.
Thank God, because
it's just like Great Pumpkin or, Charlie Brown Christmas or Christmas Story, shit like that.
Oh yeah.
As far as I know, on cable TV, they play it, yeah.
I mean, me and Joe go back and forth every other year with pictures of the fucking movie. Whoever gets to it first.
Yeah, literally every Thanksgiving, and I'm gonna do it this Thanksgiving too when we're spinning it. But yeah, we always text each other, pictures and good night, Stanny, good night, all, stuff from the movie and stuff.
Big bait catches big rat.
It's a big. I guess what I'm saying is it's a big deal, and just like growing up with Sean, they've always been like big parts of our individual families, and we kind of like connected on that. So that's kind of neat because this film is like huge. Was a huge deal. Like this has to be on. It still does. Has to be on during the morning of Thanksgiving. You have your little cinnamon rolls. You have your breakfast. You watch fucking March of the Wooden Soldiers, and then you cook all day and you drink and you hang out.
Yeah, and I'll put it this way. This is like the only enjoyable pop culture bonding I've had with my mother ever, because she's the one who introduced me to this, oddly enough.
Well, that's pretty special, man.
Yeah.
I'll talk more about it later, but like we used to, my uncle always used to host Thanksgiving and Christmas, and we'd go to his house and the entire family got together and, we'd watch March of the Wooden Soldiers for Thanksgiving, and we watched the Alistair Sims Christmas Carol for Christmas. So there was lots of belligerent, it's a big Italian family, so there was lots of like belligerent like singing of the songs and stuff. So it's very like ingrained into my childhood, this film and all the silliness of it, and I absolutely adore it. Well, do we want to talk a little bit about? So we'll do some trivia stuff.
Yeah, I didn't do too much. Mostly my curiosity was kind of heightened by the assumption that these guys. I for some reason imagined one of them lived really hard. Turns out both of them did.
Laurel and Hardy, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Laurel and Hardy.
Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy. For all you youngins that have not seen any of their comedic bits, they were a huge duo in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s.
They were giants. They were pop culture giants. They were in 107 films together, I believe.
Insane. That's insane.
Yeah. They were active for decades, but they also apparently smoked like freight train smokestacks is what someone described them as.
Oh my God.
And Oliver Hardy had a heart attack and then 3 strokes, and then he had a blood clot and died. And that is the fucking worst way I could imagine someone to be going out.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, that is awful. I don't want to be morbid, but yeah, I thought that was I got to that section of the wiki, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Stan Laurel was very sick too, wasn't he? Towards the end there.
Yes, and actually his doctor recommended him to not go to the funeral because of how poor health he was.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, massive comedy, like Three Stooges, kind of level of stuff. Physical slapstick comedy is not something you really see anymore, and if it is, it's pretty bad.
It's nothing like this. I mean, the timing, the jokes, they just work so well.
In some cases, the very real physical peril and or just damage they take.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Well, it's like you're coming off that silent era where everything's over-exaggerated, and that's how you're, theatrically taught.
Yeah.
And they just kind of leaned into that.
Which is crazy because because they made the jump from silent films to talkies, which is kind of nuts.
Right, exactly.
Also, I can't get over how much Steve Coogan actually looks like Laurel. To the point where, like, I'm watching this movie, I'm like, God, they're identical. Like, just in their delivery and the way their faces are shaped. It's frightening.
Man, I still need to see that, and I was trying to make time to watch Stan and Ollie before this, but I just couldn't squeeze it in. So that's definitely on the list. John C. Reilly plays Oliver Hardy.
Yes.
And Steve Coogan plays Stan Laurel.
But yeah, that was really all I looked up. Sorry to be that morbid and just go right to how they died.
You're good. So another thing about them is, like, they had done tons of films before they actually got together and became a duo, which was kind of nuts to me. And I think they got hooked up by Hal Roach because he signed them both individually. Now, Hal Roach is the guy responsible for Our Gang, the Little Rascals.
Oh, you don't say. Is that why one of the directors directed like 30 fucking Our Gang episodes?
That's right. Gus Maines or Mines, I believe it's Maines. Gus Maines chiefly directed Our Gang, and the other director, Charlie Rogers, did Our Gang and all of the Laurel and Hardy, shorts. It's almost like they're John Cherry.
And he was also apparently Simple Simon in this movie.
There you go.
Went uncredited.
If you want a fun rabbit hole to fall down, look up just like how the film industry spent years doing Our Gang ripoffs, and then their ripoffs would get too old, but they'd keep them all together. It's really interesting.
Oh man, that's intense. I mentioned earlier about this film's title change. It was Babes in Toyland, and then I think the rights lapsed or something was sold and or bought or what have you, but some other company took the film, retitled it, cut out some parts, and that's March of the Wooden Soldiers. So there's a couple songs cut out of that release, and then later the name just stuck because then it became March of the Wooden Soldiers, but then later they reincorporated the other songs and scenes and stuff. So the one we watched as kids is the full complete version. And even in the beginning of that, the title card, if you see the title cards, it doesn't say March of the Wooden Soldiers. It says Victor Herbert's Babes in Toyland, and then the fucking book opens up and shit. So,
well, it depends on what version you watch, because I watched the Amazon Prime digital copy, and it was like this really bad graphic, but it was like clearly done like in the last 5 years. In the beginning, like so and so presents March of the Wooden Soldiers. I was like, okay, where the fuck are the original credits?
Right.
And then they fade in, and then I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was originally shot in sepia, which is kind of crazy, and then like the black and white versions. On a black and white TV, the sepia didn't come through because it was black and white. You know what I mean? But like subsequent versions now are just black and white because of the grading they did for it. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think both versions personally look great.
Oh, agreed.
I mean, I think the black and white looks great. I think the colorization looks great. I mean,
sure,
it's one of the few movies that got a colorization that it's like you think about it and you're like, the visual sticks out in your mind. Some other movies, where they did the similar technique, I just feel like don't work as well, and I feel like that's why you don't see that a ton.
Sure, yeah.
In this movie's case, the coloring process only heightens some of the more nightmarish qualities of this movie.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I remember watching this a ton as a kid. It was probably my dad's Betamax player, honestly, in black and white. And I remember one key scene, it's not till later in the movie, maybe this is one of the ones that was cut out, or maybe that's just the tape my dad had, but the Sandman scene, nowhere to be found. And then years later, saw it on a VHS release, and we were like, huh, the hell?
That's what I'm talking about. That whole song, "Go to Sleep," that was totally cut out.
Okay, right.
Yeah, for that release, which is crazy.
It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie too, because I think it's unintentionally hilarious.
I love it. We'll get to it.
And we'll want to give a plot crunch to this movie.
An old evil man named Barnaby wants to groom Bo Peep and marry her. Hang on, I'll get there. Yeah, this old rich asshole basically wants to Mary Bo Peep, and he's kind of holding the mortgage of the woman who lives in a shoe with so many children she didn't know what to do. And Laurel and Hardy are kind of your dopey heroes who are trying to save Bo Peep and save the house.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it in a nutshell for sure.
They, dopey is the key word there.
Yeah, and then in between, lots of surreal, bizarre, and charming sequences occur. I don't know what to call them because it's like a series of sketches, essentially. It doesn't really feel like a movie. It feels like a variety show.
Yeah, we were talking about that because it's like part musical, part comedy sketch, and they're just kind of woven together, you know?
Yeah, because it's like there's this whacked out fucking, in fantasy land of Toyland where it's these ridiculous structures and there's a giant fucking shoe and there's a terrifying version of Mickey Mouse running around.
Oh
Yes!
my God. Okay, that is a monkey in a Mickey Mouse costume.
Yep.
Was it always a monkey? Because like later on, he's doing pretty intricate shit.
It was always a monkey.
Oh my God.
It's never a puppet?
It's I don't think it's ever a puppet. It's a fucking monkey in a Mickey Mouse costume.
Huh.
I think the autonomous nature of the monkey is what makes it so terrifying because it's just doing what it wants.
I mean, you also have to remember this is like 1934, and unfortunately, they didn't have animal rights laws or anything, so God knows what they did to this fucking poor chimp to get it to do what they wanted it to.
Sure. Well, I think it was like one of those like outbreak monkeys, you know? No, seriously. I forget what the fuck they're called.
Yeah.
Like from Ace Ventura?
It definitely wasn't Cybo Man.
Yeah.
God, imagine Cybo Man in that role.
Barnaby would never be a problem.
No.
Well, those Bogeymen, they would have been just getting dropped those firecrackers on them to be fucking actual grenades.
Quick aside, I just remembered a bit of trivia that I had read. Hal Roach had like put that, like had the mouse look like Mickey Mouse because like I think Disney had just opened or was about to open, or he knew Walt Disney or some shit like that. I can't remember what it was, but anyway, it was like, hey, look, the fucking mouse looks like Mickey Mouse, get it? It's a monkey in a suit. There you go.
Oh, so it was more of like a cheeky nod than it was like an official version because I was very confused by it.
Yeah, it's not a ripoff. It's just like a in-joke kind of thing.
Man, it is scary.
I love it, dude.
And this is why Disney has had copyright laws go to shit for the last like 80 years is because of this fucking movie.
You think really?
I mean, I'm being a little facetious here. I have no actual idea, but it could be like Walt Disney's like, that motherfucker got away with it in March of the Wooden Soldiers, and we ain't gonna let this happen ever again.
Yeah, so let's not pay the people from that when we absorbed Lucasfilm, all the people that wrote the expanded universe shit.
Well,
no, I think that Oswald is one of the reasons why Disney is so stingy with their IPs.
The rabbit, right? Yeah.
Oh, sure. I doubt it was March of the Wooden Soldiers. Yeah. That's probably more accurate for sure. But we open up the book literally to this movie, and Mother Goose comes out of the book. Which
is pretty neat because they're doing this rear projection thing where she's like flipping the pages and like we're seeing the different characters in the story, like whatever as Bo Peep and Stan, Oliver Hardy and Stan Laurel as Ollie D and Stanley Dumb.
Yeah, and I want to take a minute to compliment the production, design and quality, because when this initially zoomed in, I thought it was just an actual real world book. And then it opened and a person stepped out. I was like, oh, you had me.
Yeah, it's well made.
It's impressive, some of the stuff in this.
Yeah, because as we get into it, there is a lot of people in this town, all actors and whatnot, the sets.
It is unreal how much effort is involved in this production. And I'm just thinking about stuff like they couldn't be fucked to give Sam Jackson a real gun in one of the Marvel movies. They just CGI'd in later. And here you have them build a stupid building for all these fucking nursery rhymes.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's amazing.
Once we come to Toyland in the book, it like zooms in, right? And they show you all of Toyland.
Yes, everyone's dancing and singing.
Yeah, well, yeah, Toyland. We like push through the gates of Toyland, and it's this giant set with all of these different storybook characters doing little things here and there. It's a production, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You know what I mean? There's no CGI set extensions and shit.
No.
Like, this is a giant soundstage with all these people and buildings.
Yeah, and there's nobody who's doing nothing. Like, it's just everything is moving all at the same time.
Right.
We're, like, going past all the different people, and we see all the different nursery rhymes and or storybook fairy tale characters. There's one guy fucking fishing in this pond in the front, and he like pulls out a fucking boot. I thought that was funny.
The guy sticking his thumb in the pie.
Oh yeah, wee!
My favorite is Little Miss Muffet because it's the most unsubtle thing in the world. Like, it's just a girl eating something, and then like a spider on a literal string falls down. She screams bloody murder and runs away.
I love the Three Little Pigs. Every time they show them, they like, they have this soundtrack that plays throughout the movie that I personally kind of love.
Yeah. Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf?
Oh yes. Every time you get the little pigs, it goes into that Big Bad Wolf music, and they're playing it on their little violin.
Oh, it's great.
And flute.
And those pigs are terrifying.
Oh, they're scary as fuck. They're like latex masks.
And they move all weird.
And it's like little people in fat suits. It's weird.
Yeah.
1934, by the way. When they made movies in the 30s and 40s, it just blows my mind what they were able to accomplish. It's really mind-boggling.
Well, also just the insane things that they would come up with for like special effects and makeup. Like, wasn't there a story about Lon Chaney tying piano wire around his head for Phantom of the Opera?
Yeah, they did some crazy shit.
Yeah, that's insane.
Even the puppetry, like I think I forget what it's Alice in Wonderland. I believe it's from 1919 or 1920. It's a silent film, but like the puppets in that fucking film are insane. Like they blink and their mouths move and all kinds of shit. Like early animatronics stuff. It's pretty impressive.
Well, that's like I watched the Invisible Man, the original.
Oh, it's so good. Claude Rains, baby.
And it's like, I know how they did all those effects of him being invisible, but you got to just think, like, holy shit, how you had to go about that.
And how many takes.
Like splicing literal film together when you don't even know what it really looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Movies of this era, like, I think Dr. Caligari is like the other example I can think of where
Sure.
you have movies made with a certain production, design and budget that create this really surrealist looking imaginary world that is no way like ours, but it's tangible. Like Metropolis is another one too. Like the set design of Metropolis is fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
I mean, the obvious one, of course, is Wizard of Oz, but this, I don't know, just really well done in this film.
God, Wizard of Oz is such a great fucking film.
Yeah. But yeah, you go around town, like Joe was saying, you see all these different fairy book characters. You see the cat. I love the cat. Just a guy in a cat suit, but it looks cool. I don't know.
It is also scary.
Hey, Diddle Diddle, the cat and the fiddle.
Right. Hey, Diddle Diddle, the cat and the fiddle, and the Mickey Mouse is constantly fucking with this cat. He throws a brick at him, hits him in the head.
Dude, he drops a brick on this fucking cat's head like 3 times, and it's funny every time. All the hits are foleyed in with like somebody smacking 2 pieces of wood together. It's fucking great.
Yes.
Also, it's this expressionless little like imp throwing these fucking these bricks at this man in a cat suit.
First of all, you should watch this movie, period. But like, if you just want to see this thing, like, just look up March of the Wooden Soldier's mouse. It's surreal to see this thing walk around and move.
I showed the Phantom Zone guys, and Lou went, "Fire was created to kill things like this."
Then we cut to our protagonist sleeping in bed.
Oh, yeah.
And they have this feather going back and forth.
Stanny D and Ollie Dumb. Or is it vice versa? Ollie D, Stanny Dumb? Yeah, I think so.
And the feather's going back and forth. It's that age-old gag. And then eventually it goes down Stanny's throat, and he's like, "Ooh!"
He starts laughing because like the feather's tickling him inside.
And then Ollie wakes up, and they're in the same bed for some reason. They don't ever explain that.
That was a thing. That was like it was fine. Like, you know what I mean?
All right, they just like assume people don't think about it because they're brainless morons. They're like, okay, they're just in the bed together because it was easier to do the shoot that way.
Oh, what are they, gay? And it's like, no, they're not gay. They're just sleeping in a bed together because you can do that. You know what I mean?
They're just heterosexual life partners.
Right. Well, no, I get what you're saying, Joe. It's just...
But it's funny when I see it in a film from the 30s, and then, like, in the 90s, it's like, oh, you sleeping in bed with another guy?
Right.
Anyway.
And then he swallows it, and the scene kind of moves on. They're both awake now. That's the important thing.
Well, they're fucking late for work, dude, because we cut to the old woman who lives in a shoe that had so many fucking children she didn't know what to do, but she also has a teen daughter and 2 40-year-old sons.
They're not even sons. I feel like they're like people that like wandered into town one day and they couldn't get any other job, and they're like, "Hey, Mama Peep, I know you already got 100 kids, but you got an extra spare room you can rent out to 2 guys?"
Of course I do. I have 100 kids.
By the way, Bo Peep's mother is the old woman who lives in the shoes. She's one of the so many kids she didn't know what to do, and her name is Peep, Miss Peep, or Mama Peep, or whatever the fuck.
Mother Peep, Mama Peep, they call her a few times.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about that because, like, they come down. Oh my God, this is such a good bit because like Oliver Hardy comes downstairs and he's like, "Hello, Grandma." He goes like, "Hey, Mother Peep, how you doing?" or whatever. And she's like, "Oh, Barnaby came."
Oh, right. Yeah, because Barnaby comes over, makes himself known.
Oh my God.
Before we meet Laurel and Hardy, we were introduced to Barnaby, Silas Barnaby.
This fucking evil slinky of a man. God, he amuses the shit out of me.
Oh, he's great.
Because he starts harassing Mama, and then he moves on to Bo Peep. Because he's like, "Yeah, Mama Peep, if you don't pay that mortgage payment, the house is mine, don't forget."
He's like, "Where's your lovely little daughter? I want to see her."
She's like, she's in the back with her sheep. Just don't forget to close the gate, because otherwise they'll get out.
And guess what he does? Leaves that fucking gate open.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't give two shits.
She was gonna lose those sheep anyway.
That's what she does.
This fucking guy, and it's all Barnaby's fault, yeah. This fucking guy is grade A fucking creep. He goes up to this woman, and he's like, "Hello, my pretty little buttercup." He's like, he says some shit like, "You're looking delicious," or some shit. And she's like, "Thanks for the flowers, Mr. Barnaby. Leave me alone now." And he's like, "Wait a minute. What do you say we get married? Because you're delicious, and I've been looking at you since you were young, but now you've come of age, and I'm an old man, an old creep that wants to make you his bride. And I'm rich. Did I say I'm rich? I'm rich."
You bleed down there, correct?
Oh my
Jeez.
goodness!
That means you're fertile. That means you can marry me. I have the papers already written up. Just sign here.
I have to have someone to pass off my half-goat genes to.
He's fucking Wilbur Whateley, dude.
He is a satyr, okay? He is all bent over. He walks funny. He's got ridiculous facial hair.
I mean, he's like the crooked man, right?
I would think so, yeah.
Okay, I'm convinced he's an H.P. Lovecraft antagonist.
Well, sure.
My favorite part of this whole sequence is when she says, like, "I wouldn't date you if you were young, or if you were, or I wouldn't marry if you were young, or if you were nice, or whatever, or poor." And he physically recoils at this as if he just stepped on a fucking Lego. It's the funniest fucking thing. He's reacting to these verbal barbs as if he's being physically struck.
She goes, "I wouldn't care if you fucking died tomorrow." And he's like, "Oh my goodness."
Well, you got to think about it this way, too. In this, like, Toyland, he is, like, the only, like, POS in the whole land.
Yeah.
He's the only guy that's a problem, and everyone just kind of puts up with it.
His occupation is villain.
Basically, yeah.
That's his day job.
Bad guy. He also makes some weird comment when he's like, "Oh, well, you'll come around, my child." And I'm like, if you're referring to the woman you want to marry as a child,
Right.
Red flag, red flag.
That's your subconscious talking to you.
Exactly.
Also, yeah, that part of this movie hasn't aged well, but also it was 85 fucking years ago.
Well, no, I mean that's fine. You're still a fucking creep no matter what. And the movie's like, this guy's a creep.
I don't want us to look like we just glossed over that.
No, sure. I think it's funny later too, because Tom's like, "You're really pretty. And I'm gonna put you in the stocks until you tell me that you want to be with me, okay? Even though you think I'm handsome and do want to be with me, I'm still gonna hold you against your will until you say yes."
Haha, it's the 30s.
Go to sleep.
But before we get to Tom and his beautiful voice, we do get to Oliver Hardy, like Joe started to set up there, where he's coming down the stairs.
Yeah.
And Mama's like, "Oh, yeah, Barnaby was here. He's going to take the house." And Ollie's like, "Well, just wait for Stanley. We can solve this." And you hear a big crash upstairs. Fucking window breaking. And you're like, "Oh, what the hell is that?" And Stanley walks through the front door. He's like, "What? Where did you come from?" And he's like, "I took the window."
He goes, "How did you get down here?" And he goes, "I fell out the window."
Fell out the window.
What was he? Okay.
My headcanon is that he's just impervious to all physical harm, so he just just like bumbles his way through life.
Oh, it's so good. And he's like, "Oh, I forgot something upstairs." And I'm like, that just brings the fucking joke full circle, because he falls out the fucking window. But yeah, Mother Peep can't afford the rent, or the mortgage rather. So Ollie's like, "Oh yeah, go get my money box. We'll take care of this." And
Stanley comes down knowing full well what's in there.
Lets him open it and everything.
He pulls it out. It's like one of those gags where it's like a close-up so you can read the letter. And it says, "I owe you $1.75. And Stanley's just like, "Oh, I borrowed it." And he's like, "I know you borrowed it. He's like, what? He's like, what for? And he's like, I had to buy more peewees.
Peewees are these weird sharpened pegs that he carries around in a bag.
Yeah.
That he can use as boomerangs, seemingly.
They're like darts that you knock off the ground and hit, like they're fucking, they're projectile weapons, put it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ollie's like, okay, well, even though I only had like $1.70 I could have contributed to your mortgage payment.
Maybe that's how much it costs.
I mean, it's the 30s. It's more money than we would expect now, but it's still not like it's going to pay a mortgage payment.
No.
He's like, well, yeah, well, me and the toy maker, you see, the master, we're like this. We're tight, so I'll just ask him for the money. Mind you, I mean, seeing the movie, close to 100 times now, I know where this is going. But if this is your first viewing, you're like, okay, yeah, Ollie could get this taken care of. Miss Peep, no problem. Sure.
She puts her full confidence in this guy. Real quick before we move on, this is what I'm talking about because he makes some shit. He says some shit here like, oh, well, you've been so hospitable to us that, I'll give you my life savings or whatever. And I'm like, wait a second. You don't pay the rent and you're not her son? You just live here in the shoe? That's
what I'm saying. He's just some, like, vagabond that, she felt bad for him and Stanny, and they ended up in town. They ended up in Whole Cake Island. Big Mom caught him. She stuck him in a book. And, they're on a shelf in, Babes in Toyland. They're trying to find their way out.
Makes sense.
Mama Peep's like, I'm taking care of a large page boy and a man who was kicked by a mule.
So they're just, like, there to hang out or whatever, and they're, like, really close with Bo Peep, too, even though they're not her brothers.
Right.
I guess.
So they're going to go to work, and the whistle goes off. So they're already fucking late for work. What do? They bullshit with these peewees for another 5 minutes.
Well, I mean, Ollie is pissed off because he's like, when you fucking spent all my money, what the fuck's a peewee? What are you talking about?
Well, sure.
And he's like, I'll show you. So Stan puts down one of these things and, like, he has a stick, right? And you hit this thing with a stick, it, like, flips up in the air, and then you hit it. And then, it flies away and then, like, boomerangs back into your hand.
Or something.
Also, he never misses, and it's amazing.
I was going to bring that up later, because we're filming him real time, hitting things, and he cracks it every time.
He's got the sniper feet, straight up.
Sure does.
So he hits one, and like Joe said, he hits one, and it flies back. And, Ollie's like, yeah, I could do it, no problem.
Stan's like, nope.
And he fucking whacks this thing about 30 times. He starts hitting, like, the fucking shrubs to the left of it. He can't get any air on, and he gets pissed. He's like, all right, whatever. And then Stanley's like, yeah, okay, watch a pro. And he hits this thing, and it just fucking flies through the air and knocks Barnaby's hat off.
Yeah, but then he fucking, like, all four of his limbs go all the way out, and he throws himself face first into a garden.
He's like a soccer player trying to get a red flag.
I fucking love this dude. He walks over to Stan and Ollie. He has Stan hold his cane, and then he proceeds to pull out the fucking mustache hair on Ollie's face and then just, like, sprinkles it on the ground. He's such a polite bad guy because when he takes the cane back from Stan, he's like, thank you. And he just, like, walks away.
Yeah.
I love it.
And he breaks, like, Ollie's, like, lunchbox stick. Like the one to hold his lunch.
His fucking bindle stick.
Yeah. Not Stanny's. Ollie's. And then Stanny licks his finger and puts it on the fucking hairs on the ground and tries to, like, reapply it, and Ollie's like, get the hell off of me.
Oh, it's so fucking good. And I apologize to you guys at home because there is a lot of physical stuff. That's what these guys are known for.
Oh yeah, we can't do it. It's like talking about Jim Varney or like Robin Williams or like even Jim Carrey. You can only really convey so much via audio.
You really need to see it.
Yeah, like there's no way I can truly justify like how Barnaby expresses. You have to see it, but also I love the idea that you can really, like, explaining the mustache bit. I think is very clear because, like, how petty is that? Because that hurts so fucking bad.
Yeah,
but he just.
The topper is though Stanny trying to reapply it with his finger. That puts it over the edge.
That's the fucking punchline, dude. Is licking his finger and trying to put it back on his face.
So then they go into this toy shop, and they're late as fuck. It's almost lunchtime just about.
Yeah, George Kennedy's there, fucking writing books or whatever.
Yeah, and they're trying to sneak in, and of course they bump into the loudest thing possible. and the music's like do 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 do, and then the fucking toy maker turns around and he's like, you're late again.
Get to work, you fuck.
I love their factory voiced, factory like GM voice boss.
Oh yeah.
The only thing he missing was a cigar, honestly.
Yeah, and like a hard hat.
He looks like a shriveled George Kennedy.
He does.
He kind of does, yeah. I didn't know where you were going with the George Kennedy reference at first, but yeah.
No, it's not actually George Kennedy in the film, though.
Like if his head was deflated.
Like somebody put him in a dehydrator? Yeah.
Yeah. Him coming out of the sauna, they said, all right, get on the march set, quick. And he's like, yeah, if you're late again, you're fired. So this must have been going on for a while.
Yeah. And like Ollie thinks full well he's going to just ask him for this money and he's going to,
right,
give it to him.
And Stanley keeps bringing it up. He's like, yeah, so you're going to ask for the money? He's like, yeah, maybe now's not a good time there, Stan. He's like, yeah, but Mama Pete needs it.
He goes, why don't you ask him? He likes you better. He told me he did. And he's like, really? And he's like, absolutely. And then Stanley like yells over to the guy. He's like, oh, master. He's like, what? He's like, Ollie wants to ask you something.
And then Ollie starts to talk, and I forget exactly how we get from point A to point B, but he never actually gives him the money.
No.
And then they're like painting these toys, and the master, as they keep referring to him as the master, like this is the fucking end boss from Fallout 1.
They call me master.
He's like gets pissed, and he takes like this fucking rubber mallet and he slams it on the table like, enough! Get back to work! And Stanley drops this toy train he's working on, and he just starts rolling forward into this lacquer and just pushes the fucking bucket of lacquer onto this guy's lap.
Dude, it gets all over the fucking books that he's writing, like all the inventory books and orders and shit. They should have been fired here. With his demeanor, he would have fucking beat them to death with that mallet.
He holds back, really. When they get fired for the thing that they probably should have got fired for, but you're right. He could have got rid of them way earlier.
So Bo Peep loses her sheep, and we're introduced to Tom Tom, the Piper's son. And I guess he's the son of the Piper who, like, the Pied Piper, I guess?
Yes. From the little bit of research I did, that lines up.
I like that Tom Tom's supposed to be like around Bo Peep's age, but he looks like he's 40 and she looks like she's 19.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd say 40, but definitely like a 10 or 12 years difference for sure.
Especially when you take the hat off, you're like, oh, you're a grown man.
He's like 26. He's going on 30. And we get our first song here. And it's like, don't cry, Bo Peep. We will find your sheep. Blah, 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 blah. And it goes through the whole fucking thing.
Right, he serenades her.
Yeah.
And all the while, they interrupt other nursery rhymes in the process of their plot.
Yeah, yes, Jack and Jill.
Mary Cry Contrary is one of my favorites because she's like, I don't fucking know what you sheep are. Leave me alone. Tending to her garden of oyster shells or whatever.
Yeah, Jack and Jill show up and they're like, stop before you go up the hill with your pail of water.
I don't know, Bo Peep, where your sheep are, but we don't know where the fuck they are.
Yeah, they're all like, we ain't found shit.
My favorite part of this whole, because the whole fucking town is now in looking for Bo Peep's sheep at this point.
Yeah, literally. Looking and singing and serenading.
I love the guards because they're just like, ba, ba, ba.
Yeah. Randomly just making sheep sounds while these houses open like doll houses and people fucking dance out of them.
Again, this was a big thing on Thanksgiving when we were all in my uncle's house. We'd all just be yelling this. Specifically, my father, it was hilarious because he would sing every fucking song in the movie and like go to sleep was like a big thing for years. But anyway, they're like sitting next to a pond or something.
The old dunk tank.
Yeah, the old dunk pond. And he's like, hello, Bo. He's like, oh, I'm very handsome.
You want me, the young, handsome, striping young man, or the old fuck with money?
Right? She's like, well, both. I'll come have sex with you and take his money.
Well, and then, he slips his finger under her dress, and we see those feet start flying inside those shackles.
He wins her over, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, he pulls it, he's got that wet finger now, and the whole town's behind them watching. Oh, man, how they sneak up on them.
And they're all like, oh, we saw you slip of the pig in the pig. Okay, get him out of here.
And then, they found the sheep. Tom wipes his dirty hand on one of their backs. And
he's got a big white streak on his fucking green leotard.
Yeah, he gives one of those sheep curls its hair. And everybody's happy. Bo Peep's got her sheep, and then Tom's like, Toyland, here you go, the future Mrs. Pied Piper, and they all cheer.
Listen up, she's gonna be my wife, even though she didn't really consent yet, but kind of.
Yeah, that was my thing. He just stands up and announces they're getting married. I'm like, I didn't hear her actually agree to anything. You're just like, we're getting married. She's like, cool.
He like kisses her and he's like, wasn't that nice? She's like, yeah. He's like, great, we're married.
That's how it works in Toyland. Didn't you get the memo?
Since we don't have a priest.
They have a judge we'll get to.
Yeah.
And then even in the scene, everyone starts frolicking. We even see the cat and the fucking Mickey Mouse are dancing and shaking hands. And then eventually, like, you're like, oh, okay, that's nice. And then the mouse, like, moves over to the side and throws a brick at it anyway.
Oh, yeah, he bricks that fucking cat again. This is one of those scenes where this fucking monkey in this mouse costume's running. And at some point, it, like, runs on all fours and, like, hops and shit. It's creepy and wonderful.
Yeah, it's very creepy. And then look who's here.
The fat man himself.
He arrived early.
Yeah, Sandy Claus.
Oh my god, the most lit Santa Claus I've ever seen. That guy is fucking toasted.
I love how he just walks up and he's like, well, you saw the Christmas that almost wasn't, right? Well, all my elves are dead now, so thank you for making these toys for me, Toy Master.
And, he comes in, and they keep calling him Santy. Oh, hey, Santy, how you doing, Santy?
He's like, oh, my two favorite boys, Oliver Hardy and Stan Laurel.
Santy's great. He's been hitting the tequila very hard.
I just hit the bowl.
How do you think I get this red nose?
I'm an alcoholic.
Where's Sam Whipple when you need him, am I right?
Basically, Santa's like, all right, I'm here to check out my order. And Ollie and Stanley go to get it. His wooden soldier order. And the toy maker's like, oh, you're going to love these. This is our best work ever.
Yeah, the titular wooden soldiers.
Yeah, they bring out one of these 6-foot, high soldiers.
It's the size of a man. It's a giant toy soldier that's robotic.
Yeah, also unintentionally scary.
Yeah, which is just like a dude in makeup and like wooden feet.
Yeah, well done, though.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
And Santa is like, whoa, what is this? What the fuck is this?
I asked for 600 soldiers at 1 foot high, not 100 soldiers at 6 foot high. Oh, shit.
And Stanley's like, yeah, oh, wow, yeah, I took that order, but it's Ollie's fault. Ollie fucked this up. He blames Ollie the rest of the movie. He's like, yeah, it was Ollie's fault.
After all of the other shit they do, this is the one that breaks the camel, that breaks the straw, that breaks the camel's back. Like, the toy maker's like, you're fucking fired. That's it. Get the fuck out of here.
We invested in all this AI technology for nothing.
Although Santa Claus is like, I need to take these with me to go fight a demon who keeps droning on and on about being in prison for 66 years.
Well, as long as this isn't Santa Goldberg, because then he's going to use this army to take over the world.
Yeah, well, he's going to try.
Yeah, that's his personal death squad.
I mean, it depends on which MDU Santa we're dealing with here.
Yeah, there's definitely multiple Santas of different sides.
It's like the Reign of the Supermen from DC. They're just
Yeah, there you go.
There's multiple Santas.
You got your dark Santa, your light Santa.
This Santa's definitely more in line with Christmas That Almost Wasn't Santa for sure. That kind of style of Santa-ing.
Oh, yeah.
So which one is Cyborg Superman Santa?
Tim Allen.
So they go to put this soldier back, and he's like, put this thing back, get the fuck out of here, you're fired. And he's like, okay. So they go to put it back, and they end up fucking it up. And this thing starts walking around the shop, destroying everything. Fucking Santa falls into a drum on his ass. This thing ends up walking through a fucking wall and, like, out into wherever.
In the Toontown.
My favorite part of this whole thing is it takes out a shelf, but the guy playing the wooden soldier never reacts to anything.
Yeah.
While the real shelf is just crashing on his head.
Oh, real professional.
Every one of these soldiers, when shit is happening like that around them, they are stone-faced. I'm very impressed.
Expressionless.
And stiff as a fucking board, too.
Yep.
The one time you want that kind of performance and they nail it.
Yeah. Fucking Christian Bale should have took some tips for Equilibrium.
Yes, had to be more expressionless.
Yeah, put that fucking prosium.
That would be an amazing cleric, one of these soldiers.
Father's like, you're excellent.
I need 100 6-foot soldiers.
God, you guys are perfect. Why do I even have these?
What are humans for anyway?
What am I paying Christian Bale for?
So then we cut to the shoe again, and Mother Peep is I don't know, crying about that she's going to lose her house. But Bo Peep comes in and she's like, oh, Tom asked me to marry him. We're going to get married with your blessing, of course. And she's like, my child, that's great.
Thank God it wasn't Barnaby. I was really sweating that one.
Even though we're not going to have a fucking house to live in tonight, but okay.
Oh, wait, here he is. Just walking in, doesn't knock.
It's my favorite part is he just walks in wherever he wants.
He's the fucking landlord.
Yeah, and she even says, you got to knock when you walk into my house. He goes, your house? He's like, I believe I own it.
I'll get my lawyer, Phineas J. Prune.
Oh, no. Yeah,
Could be his business partner.
Yeah, you know he is.
It's his Rudy Giuliani.
Oh, my God.
Prune's fucking hair dye is dripping down the side of his face.
It won't be Christmas, I don't think.
Have you ever seen my cousin Vinny?
2 youths. So yeah, basically Barnaby's like, yeah, let me marry Bo Peep and I'll give you the mortgage payment or whatever as a marriage gift.
And Mama Peep's like, I would never do that. But she like looks at Bo Peep like,
Oh, she thinks about it for a second. It crosses her mind.
Would you?
Do I give my child's body over to this old disgusting man or not?
Let me mull it over.
So she's just about to maybe give in, but she sees Stan and Ollie coming, and she's like, oh, great, they got the money. Everything's going to be fine. So she's like, okay, Mr. Barnaby, you're fucked because the money's coming right now in full, you disgusting creature.
You're about to be pickled. Watch this.
We get this great face reaction from Barnaby, another great one where he's just like, ooh, like, oh, I can't wait to see this.
Your goose is cooked, Mr. Barnaby.
I want to be the fly on the wall there when Stan and Ollie are walking home from their job across the street where they got fired from. Like, oh, what the fuck are we gonna tell Mrs. Peep?
Oh no,
she's really banking on this money. We're like, where are we gonna live?
Here come my freeloaders. Your ass is grass, Barnaby.
Here come the strangers that live in my attic. So, yeah, they don't have the money.
No.
And Barnaby's like, well, I would hope you consider my offer. You got until like 12 o'clock tonight, or like the house is mine. It's always a thing, right?
Yeah.
The foreclosure's happening today.
Right, or the next day. You know, double toil and trouble comes to mind.
Yeah.
Barnaby, he has that contract in his back pocket.
Sure does. He's talking to Mrs. Peep, or Mother Peep, and Ollie goes to reach in that fucking pocket and gets a fucking rat trap on his finger.
The big trap catches the big rat.
He's lucky that was one of Grandma's mouse traps, or else he would have lost a hand or a few fingers.
Oh man, if it was one of those bear trap ones Peter Weller had, fuck it.
I sold some traps to this weird goat guy who came to my apartment.
Some pilgrim took all my mouse traps. Now what do I do? Cleet, what do I do now?
We got the rubber gloves.
I told you about the fucking gloves and you didn't get them.
And then we get this classic lines drop.
Big bait catches big rat.
And Ollie takes that one to heart. He's like, all right, I got to write that down. I'm going to get this motherfucker back.
Full circle, baby.
And Barnaby leaves with that threat looming over their head.
So they're like making fun of him and shit, and he's still like hanging outside the door, and Stan's like saying like, if I put this boot on and kick him in the pants or whatever.
Oh, right, like the actual house if it was a boot.
Yeah. And so Barnaby opens the door and just fucking clocks him on the head with the stick.
My God, I thought he killed him.
And there's like a delayed reaction. He like gets hit and then he continues to talk and then he drops.
Stan's timing is masterful. I don't think we'll ever have a duo like them ever again.
No, but the best part is Stan wakes up and he's like, what the hell happened?
Oh, this is great.
And Ollie's like, Barnaby came in, clocked you, and walked out. And he goes, huh. All right, open that window there, Ollie.
He fucking does his peewee trick, dude, except he does it with a metal spoon and a wooden rolling pin. He fucking hits this thing and smacks it out the window, and it clobbers Barnaby in the back of the head.
He goes flying into the pavement.
Oh my God, he fucking face plants right in there.
Well, then, of course, that night, Ollie and Stanley, they feel bad. They couldn't do anything for, the person putting a roof over their heads. So they concoct this plan, this Christmas gift idea. In July.
That's like one of the best fucking lines, because you're like, oh, well, I just saw Santa Claus, so I guess it's close to Christmas.
Right.
Ollie's like in a crate, and Stan like wheels him over to Barnaby's house, because the plan is like they're going to drop this package off inside Barnaby's house, and then Ollie's going to get out and let Stan in, and then they'll find the deed or whatever.
Right, exactly. And Barnaby's not going to be any wiser because he's a moron, obviously.
Yeah, so...
Laurel is dressed like the fucking Riddler. It's so funny looking.
Right, with this little face mask on he's got.
Yeah.
He rings the bell, and Barnaby's like, "What do you want? Who is it?" And he's like, "Hi, Mr. Barnaby, it's me, Stanny. We felt real bad about before, but we bought you a present." And he's like, "A Christmas present? In the middle of July?" And he's like, "Oh, we like to do our Christmas shopping early."
And he's like, "All right, yeah, I'll be right down."
It's just like shit like that, dude. It's so good.
So yeah, he wheels it in, and he reads the package, and he's like, "Oh, what is it? Let me open it." He's like, up, Barnaby, do not open until Christmas. It says it right here.
Yeah.
And they zoom in on it, and that's what it says printed on the crate. And he's like, "Oh, all right, I'll wait." This big-ass crate just going to be sitting in his fucking foyer for the next 6 months. Okay.
It's so good, because he's like, "Oh, good night, Mr. Barnaby." And he's like, "Good night." And he, like, goes to walk out and turns around and goes, "You can go to sleep now."
Yeah.
He's like, "Okay."
We're going to come in and rob you. I mean, ignore any noise you hear.
It's 4 p.m., Stanley. What are you talking about?
So it's the classic, good night, Ollie, good night, Stanny. Because Ollie, like, puts his head out of the box. He's like, "Good night, Stanny." Oh, the fucking top closes.
Yeah, and Barnaby creeps in, and the feather of Ollie's hat's poking out. And he starts, like, fiddling it, and then Ollie, I guess, gets the message and pokes his head out and is, like, putting his fingers on the edge of the box, all, like, embarrassed and trying not to look at Barnaby because he knows he's fucked.
So the next day, Barnaby charges them with burglary, and they're going to be dunked and then banished to the infamous Bogeyland.
Yeah, not a slap on the wrist, not like 30 days in jail, not a fine. Like, nope, banished to be murdered and never seen again.
To be torn apart by fucking monkey men.
But before they go, they get to participate in a nice little carnival ride.
Oh, they sure do.
This looks fun.
Yeah, for everyone involved, but the person being dunked, yeah.
First of all, okay, so they're gonna get dunked. So Ollie's like, "Hey, Stan, can you hold my watch?" He's like, "I wouldn't want anything to happen to my watch." And then they proceed to strap this man to a chair, like strap him in with like belts so he can't move.
Yeah.
And it's like this giant like crane that's like hand powered by these two giant executioner guys
Who looks so out of place among these like innocent, cutesy nursery rhyme characters.
Imagine that, like, being like the executioner guys in Toyland.
Imagine it was like 2 of the 3 little pigs.
You know who's in there?
John.
It's Corpse Fucker and Cumdar.
God damn it! I was gonna say it's Cumdar and Corpse Fucker.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's who'd you think it was?
Here to ruin everyone's innocence.
Hurt dropped them off through a dimensional portal. He said, this is gonna be an important time in the realms. And they were left there just to be, backup plans in case anything went wary.
Well, no, because they had to secure Barnaby and the Bogeymen to join the ranks of his army. So.
Oh, true. We'll circle back around that at the end because I know exactly the point in time where they grabbed him and took him out of there.
Sure.
It might have something to do with the giant wooden blocks falling from the sky and spelling out a word.
It's possible. So. This goes as you would think. He gets dunked. Ollie gets dunked, and the fucking rope breaks.
It breaks. He hits the water so hard that they just like creams Barnaby because he's laughing the entire time up until then.
Oh, he gets a mouthful of fucking spunk water, man.
And we get this. I don't know why it's hilarious. It's a man drowning, but you just see Oliver Hardy underwater.
He's like, but I mean, he's tied to it.
Well, he's tied to the chair, so Stanny now realizing, oh fuck, he's drowning. He starts crying.
He goes, "Somebody get him out of there before he dies of pneumonia."
Yeah. So then they all, like all these townsfolk and guard, grab like the wooden crane and start lifting him out. But I guess just because he's a heavy dude, that's not going to really help, and the fucking wooden block breaks.
Oh, dude, it breaks right in half.
Dude, this time the king, who's been laughing his fucking ass off the whole time, he gets pounded with a bucket of water.
Yeah.
And he talks like this. I am old King Cole of Toyland, and you're fucked. You're going to Bogeyland.
And then all these other people fall in the fucking pond, and Oliver Hardy gets free, and he crawls out of the water, out of breath. And he's sitting there trying to recover, and Stanny, he gets a fucking cup and he dips it into the water and he hands it to him and he goes, "Haven't I had enough water?"
I'm only trying to help you.
Then Barnaby's like, "All right, get the next guy ready." And Bo Peep's like, "Oh, can't we just end this?" And he's like, "Well, if you marry me, all right, I'll do it."
And she does. And it's funny because, like, Ollie and Stan are just standing there. He's like, "Wait a second, that's it?" He's like, "You getting married now?" And he's like, "He don't have to be dunked." He's like, "No, he doesn't have to be dunked." And fucking Barnaby says some shit like, "You and I are going to be very good friends." And Stan's like, "Oh, yeah, me and him are just like that." And he, like, puts his fingers together.
Right. And we get a call back to earlier when Tom had asked, or basically announced, their marriage, and everybody cheered. This time, Barnaby does. "Oh, the future Mrs. Silas Barnaby," and everyone's like, "Oh, great!" Like nobody claps.
No.
Let's plot his murder.
When you're marrying a 13-year-old.
Yeah, more or less, somebody that's like 50 years your junior. And we get this scene where you know Ollie's pissed. He got dunked. He can't breathe. Torture to him, and Stanny gets off with nothing. So he goes, "What the hell?" And he goes, "So Stanny doesn't have to get wet?" And he goes, "Yeah, look at that. I don't have to get wet." And he goes, "Oh, we'll see about that." He pushes Stanny in the fucking water.
Into the fucking pond.
And then the Chekhov's gun, that is the watch, comes into play.
Ollie, here's your watch.
Yeah, my favorite line in the movie. "Ollie, yeah, your watch." And then Ollie like looks at the camera and fucking throws his hands up in the air.
There's a lot of like fourth wall breaking, and I love it.
Yeah, and Barnaby always does it when he's recoiling in horror from something.
Hey, that kind of comedy is like lost, right? And I think it's very funny. I mean, this movie is almost 100 years old, and it's still fucking hilarious. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 100%.
When something works, it works.
And so now we go to this marriage day.
Oh yeah.
Where this is where we first meet. I mean, I call him Fritz. He's just basically like his little servant. Fritz like that Barnaby has do his bidding.
Do you think him and Blossom like hang out after hours?
Maybe.
They get like drinks together?
Totally. Hello, Fritz.
Hello, Fritz. Is Fritz home? I want to have a drink with him.
Yes, I'm here, Blossom. Let's go to the bar.
Splendid. Great. I'm allowed to walk 100 yards from the house.
They have daiquiris together.
I imagine that
Blossom?
Blossom. I imagine he doesn't really walk; he just glides. Like you never see his feet.
That's the whole thing, man. Because his bones are buried in the cemetery, and he's like a ghost man. Remember?
That's right. Yeah. He's just a specter.
I was gonna say maybe his corpse is just moved by like little spiders under his feet.
Oh, it could be, yeah.
Because he's covered in cobwebs. I don't know.
I've been dead for years. I'm actually a host to several thousand arachnids.
I like that.
Do you know Clint Howard? He's a distant relative of mine.
He tried to steal my thunder. Also, Barnaby and Prune have the same fucking interior decorator, because damn.
Yes! They don't clean at all.
No.
But yeah, the day of the wedding, Mother Peep, she's still crying. She can't believe this has happened, and she's going to go try to talk some sense into Barnaby. And Stan is just like, all right, well, that's kind of fucking pointless. Like, you're not going to accomplish anything.
You can't turn blood into a stone. And Ollie's like, what? And he's like, you can't pour in one ear into another ear and it comes out the other side. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Stan's like, I'm housebroken. And he's like, you mean heartbroken.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, yeah, Stan's not going to the wedding. Stan's just wearing like his regular outfit. And Ollie is wearing his regular outfit, but he's got like a suit jacket and a top hat on over it. That's the only difference.
He's got like a cape and those fucking giant gloves.
Yeah. And we kind of move on to Barnaby's where he's getting ready for this wedding, and Mrs. Bo Peep, Mother Peep comes in. Oh, Barnaby, oh, you can't have this happen. And he's like, yeah, shut up, you old broad. I don't care. It's happening.
I'm going to take your daughter's virginity and savor it.
Oh.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? It's gross. But this is my favorite scene in the movie, easy. The wedding scene.
Yes. Because, Ollie brings in the bride. You can't see the face because of the veil.
The very conspicuously covered face of the bride.
The judge announces, yeah, man and wife, Barnaby and Bo Peep, and he's like, now I'm going to kiss the bride, and Ollie's like, oh, no, hold on there, Mr. Barnaby, aren't you forgetting something there? And he's like, oh, yes, the mortgage papers. And then Ollie takes it, and he fucking rips it up into a million pieces, and then he's like, okay, kiss the bride. They take it off, and it's fucking Stan Laurel in a wedding dress.
Dun 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 dun. That's the classic music. And Barnaby's face is like an all-timer here. He's got his lips poking out, his head's pulled back like a fucking bird.
Tom Tom's in the fucking window laughing his ass off.
Oh yeah, he runs right back to the shoe. He's like, oh yeah.
He climbs up the shoe and just fucking lays it on Bo Peep.
Oh yeah, he sings a song about Spain tour
or some shit like we're gonna live in a castle in Spain or whatever.
I'm like, wait a fucking second here. Spain is in this universe?
Spain is real?
Toy Spain.
Anyway, so he sings about that, and then Barnaby rushes out of the room like, oh, you'll never hear the end of this.
The king will hear of this, yeah.
Ollie's like, all right, Stanny, good luck. It's been nice knowing you.
I'm not coming with you?
He's like, oh, no, yeah, you're married to Barnaby now. You got to stay here. He's like, I don't love him.
But I don't love him.
He starts bawling.
Yeah, and then we got that Tom Tom song like we just said. And then it cuts back to Barnaby and he's fucking pissed.
Oh, and of course we have the callback at the wedding. Big Bake catches Big Rat.
How did we miss that? Yeah.
Classic scene.
Classic. That's the big one. We cut to Barnaby with Fritz, as I guess we'll affectionately call him.
Sure.
And he's cleaning something and he hits into Barnaby and Barnaby's like, idiot. He's like, idiot, don't, imbecile pig.
Well, he hits him with a fucking mop in the face.
Or some shit. Yeah, he smacks him with a mop. And fucking Barnaby goes on a tirade. He's just like, idiot, don't, imbecile pig. Pig. I'm gonna frame Tom Tom for a pig napping.
I love how he immediately arrives at this thought.
And they make up the word pig napping, and they really, hang their fucking hats on it.
Barnaby's plan is to plant evidence in Tom Tom's house that he stole one of the three little pigs. And in doing so, he'll be banished immediately to Bogeyland for pig napping.
Well, and pig murder, apparently, if you go with a sausage.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. So Barnaby goes to the three little pigs' houses, and, he goes to the brick house, and, he sticks his hand in there, and the fucking pig bites his hand. And then he goes to he knocks on the window of the wood house or the stick house, and this fucking pig opens up its blinds and smacks his hand with a fucking gavel. And then Barnaby blows the house down to poor little Elmer in the straw house, and he's sleeping, and he goes to grab the pig, and this fucking thing punches him right in the face. It's the funniest fucking thing.
And nobody mentions, hey, two other pigs. Who wasn't Barnaby trying to get into your house last night? Yeah, as a matter of fact, yeah, he was. I don't think it's related.
Everyone lives 10 feet away from each other, and no one sees the only villain you have in town just knocking over someone's house.
I don't think the pigs speak English is the problem, so they couldn't tell them it was Barnaby.
And then you guys were just talking about with the sausage links. Barnaby has them tied up at home.
Yeah, in his basement.
Yeah, and he has these sausage links, or what he thinks are sausage links, and he gives them to Fritz. He's like, yeah, plant these also with the hat. Fuck it. Have him go for murder, too.
Let's make this as gruesome as possible.
There's no way they can deny it now when he's in a fucking sausage.
They buy it.
Yep. Tom Tom gets put on trial, and the fucking king is like,
well, what do you mean? We found all this stuff in your house.
Trial? They don't have trials in Toyland. They just basically someone says, hey, this person did a crime. All right, get him in Bogeyland quick.
Well, he's like, we found this stuff in your house, and there's the fiddle and the hat and the sausage. You fucking killed this pig. Now you must be banished to Bogeyland.
No dunking, though. Ollie broke it.
No, well, yeah, I think that's why they don't dunk him, right?
This is the only way I know how to do my job.
And he says he didn't do it. No one believes him. Barnaby basically piles on oh, he did it. I don't know why everyone just takes Barnaby's side.
Bunch of turncoats.
Yeah, and it's fucked up too because Barnaby wastes no time. They banish Tom Tom, and Bo Peep is oh my god, this is horrible. And he's like, okay, well now he's gone. Are you ready to get married? And she's like, you're fucking horrible. Get away from me.
Right. And then, just by happenstance, Laurel and Hardy are, fucking around by the police station.
The this guard comes over and has the evidence, right? The sausage and the hat and shit. He puts it next to Laurel and Hardy. He's like, hey, can you watch this for a second? I gotta go take a piss or something.
Don't eat it.
He forgot the key.
Oh, that's what it is.
He forgot the key to the station because, of course, it's just like some like it's basically just like a set piece. It doesn't even have an actual door.
Sure.
And, Stanny picks up the sausage link and he starts chewing into it and he's reading like the description and he's like, yeah, Exhibit B. He's like, it's Elmer. Huh. Tastes different, though. It tastes salty.
He just eats this fucking sausage. He's like, hey, what does this mean? And he's like, Exhibit B. That sausage is the fucking pig. And he's like, it doesn't taste like pig. He's like, no? He's like, no, it tastes like pork.
What's wrong with you?
Ollie's face, like his eyes bug out. He's like, wait a fucking second.
He's like, give me that. So he tastes it and he's like, man, that's neither pig nor pork. It's beef.
Mind you, up to this point, they're both under the impression that it's this fucking pig they knew.
Right.
And they're just like chowing down on it.
Yeah, because Bo Peep even says that, like, Tom and I were friends with the pig. So I'm like, so these people interacted with them. And they're like, yeah, fuck it, well, it's dead now. I'm going to eat this.
We're not from around the area. We eat this kind of shit back in New York all the time.
Let's roll this dice and make sure the sausage isn't the pig by eating it.
I love that idea that they're just they were staying with Mother Peep and they're just like, yeah, fuck it, I'll eat this pig sausage. I don't give a shit.
They have no commitment. They're barely getting along.
we're transients. What do they care?
So they figure out that it's beef and not pork, and because they already know, Barnaby's up to some shit. They just are like, fuck it, we're gonna go right to his house, and almost as soon as Tom gets ferried over to Boogeyland past the crocodiles and into the cave system.
Real crocodiles, mind you.
Yes.
Or alligators, rather.
Yeah, because 1930s don't fuck around.
No.
Right, not gator face. No one's kick flipping over these fucking things.
No.
Real gators. And, like, literally right after he gets dropped off, Ollie and Stanny come in with the pig. They're like, we found it in Barnaby's cellar. Okay. Well, we just sent a man to his doom. All right, well, get Barnaby.
Yeah, they go try to lynch Barnaby, like, in his house.
He runs to this well in the back of his house where he has a secret compartment built in.
Dude, it's the fucking MDU well. That's what that is.
Quite literally.
It's a back door to fucking Bogeyland. And if you go down further, Cumdar's there. Everybody's there playing poker at the fucking table. The Tra-La-Logs are there. Everybody.
Right.
Barnaby, keeper of the well?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's the keeper of the fucking monsters down there.
He just, he had to use a different stone to open up a different compartment to get deeper, but he did not.
Well, he has command of this giant labyrinth of caves.
I don't know how the Bogeymen have not fucking invaded earlier with the way that this cave system connects to the bottom of Toyland.
Well, he has to command them somehow, like...
Probably the biggest plot hole in the movie, by the way.
I thought it was just like, they were like, hey, you're hideous, you can be one of us now.
Sure.
I just took it as like he knew he would go down there and like feed them and shit and like become their master or whatever.
Oh yeah, maybe he taught them.
Yeah, he's the keeper of the Bogeymen.
Oh, I could see it. We'll get to it soon. We're almost there.
Why do you think John Hurt wants to team up with him?
I like your monsters very much. I would like to have some.
You have an army of ape men with teeth, with razor sharp claws and teeth.
I don't need this stupid child anymore with his pit.
Hurt does collect the rogues galleries.
Yes.
But yeah, so they see him go in that well, and like all the townsfolk are just like fucking around at the front of his house the rest of his movie, I guess. But they go to the well and they see him go in, but they don't see him like go through the compartment. And this well is not that deep. They should be able to see him at the bottom one way or the other, but they don't.
Sure.
So they're going to wait for him to come out. Well, meanwhile, Bo Peep's taking it upon herself to fucking take the raft, past the fucking gators, into Bogeyland to try to find Tom.
She's a fucking badass. She just hops on this raft and just pushes off and fucking sails over to Boogeyland by herself.
It's not that far.
I mean, yeah, but there are fucking alligators and man-eating fucking bogeymen.
A trained athlete could make the jump from Toyland to Bogeyland, okay? Like, it's not that far.
And they meet up. This is that scene we were talking about a little bit, the Mr. Sandman scene.
Yeah, so this was completely excised from the March cut originally.
And it's a pretty cool scene. It's one of the better songs, I would say.
I love it. And again, like, this is the one my dad used to always sing, and it was funny as hell.
It's also all done with, like, an overlay. So it's, like, Bo Peep Bo Peep's asleep and Tom's, like, singing to her, and, like, these translucent, like, dwarves and all these other kind of, like, denizens show up. And then Mr. Sandman flies onto the fucking scene with this giant silver cape and just starts overacting silently. It's the funniest fucking thing.
Puts Tom Tom to sleep.
Yeah, he sure does. Throw some sand in his eyes. Let me ask you a question. Is Sandman a ghost? Or
Sandman resides between reality.
Between worlds? Yeah, I think so.
I think that's the astral plane, honestly.
That's the veil being lifted in the cave in Bogeyland, right?
I think that's what it is.
It's a space between spaces.
It's a space between.
Yeah, it's just really thin right there. The resonator's going in the other room.
It's quantum realm.
But yeah, they pass the fuck out, and we get a bunch of bats on strings in this scene. We see flying around. And Barnaby, because he knows these tunnels, intricately. Again, holy shit, that lines up so well. These are the tunnels that they go through to play cards, to get to the Trolologs.
Exactly, man.
I'm sure somewhere Disney's involved somewhere. If you go deep enough through these tunnels, you get into the bottom of the Disney World.
Hollow Earth, that's what this is.
Yeah.
Oh, rats, I found them all again.
But he finds them sleeping, and of course, because he's a creep, he immediately grabs Bo Peep and tries to, fucking run off with her.
Oh, yeah. And there's, this whole bit where Stan and Ollie are, throwing rocks down the well, and they're like...
Right.
Stan's like, you better come up dead or alive.
Right, and Ollie goes to throw the boulder, and he throws it, and before it hits the bottom, Stan goes, look out!
Yeah. There's a couple good bits like that.
They do go down eventually.
Yeah. Barnaby and Tom Tom have a fucking knockdown drag out here.
Tom Tom throws a fucking UFC right hook at Barnaby. He takes it on the chin. His arms and legs go all the way out. And then he tips over like a fucking tree.
And he's not KO'd.
So good. It looks like a pride knockout. Like one of those old Japanese fights where someone just dies.
The hat goes flying and everything.
Oh, yeah. They're rolling around, flipping each other over and shit.
And then they, Bo Peep and Tom Tom, run up, let's say for the sake of argument, this 2-story, cliff, a face, and Barnaby runs up after them with, a stick, and he swings it, and Tom Tom just kind of, sidesteps him, and he tumbles down this fucking ravine on his head.
He sure does.
Into, a bunch of, rocks and shit.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, ah!
Then he gets up and starts banging these 2 stalactites and, summons the Bogeymen.
Because apparently he knows how to do that.
That's what I'm saying, dude. He's the keeper of these fucking things.
Yeah, it's the only way that makes sense without reading too much into an 80-year-old movie.
Well, yeah.
And they're creepy fucks. They look like monkey men that have had their faces stepped on permanently.
They're all wearing cute feety pajamas and all have fanged masks on.
Oh, and grass skirts too.
Yes.
They are definitely iconic, but maybe not the best costumes in the film. I mean, everything else looks pretty damn good in comparison, but when you think about the amount of these creatures they have at the end here, it's kind of crazy to, when you put it in perspective.
And I think that's the secret there, is that they had we have to make 40 of these. So they're definitely not getting, a whole lot of money thrown at them.
Oh, for sure. But but again, like Sean said, the sheer amount of Bogeymen is insane.
Yeah.
There are so many of them.
Bogeymen and soldiers plus extras. It's this had to be a 200-person fucking production.
Yeah. And again, there's no compositing, right? It's all real people in suits.
So they summon these Bogeymen, and Barnaby leads the charge after Bo Peep and Tom Tom. And while this is all happening simultaneously, Ollie and Stanley have made their way into the tunnels, and they kind of see Tom Tom and Bo Peep run by, and Barnaby behind them with the stick, but they don't see the Boogeymen, so they chase after, we're going to get this guy. We're going to get the reward. Because the king's 50 guineas to whoever catches them.
It's like a Scooby-Doo chase.
And I love this scene because Ollie's all tough, he's going to take out Barnaby with this fucking club. And the second Stanley sees the Boogeymen coming, the two of them freak out. Stanley's like, oh, the Boogeymen! And they're running away.
Oliver Hardy's a big guy. He's a tall, large man.
Oh, yeah.
And he has this giant stick that he's about to beat fucking Barnaby's head in with.
Oh, and I believe he'd do it no problem.
Oh, sure.
They book it the fuck out of there. They see these 100 Boogeymen running after him. And they all go back through the well entrance. Even though, Ollie, he needs a little help from Stanley because he's a little wide. He can't get through. He gets pulled through.
Oh, he gets fucking Winnie the Pooh'd.
And Barnaby runs up, and he's he kind of just pokes his head in. He could tell that's how they got through. But he's like, all right, fuck it, we're going the other way. Hit the rafts, and he brings all these boogeymen to the rafts.
We could go up here one at a time, or we could cram every single one of you onto a small wooden block and float across this river with alligators.
And if some of you die, whatever.
An army.
And so then the whole town gets woken up because, Ollie and Stanny, they saved Tom and Bo Peep. And even the king walks in. It's the first time he hasn't been carried in someplace. He actually gets off his ass and walks in.
He's like the people from fucking Wall-E.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't have any bones. He doesn't have bones anymore.
He's like, all right, who woke me up? This better be good.
What? Why did you disrupt me during my beauty sleep? Oh, Tom and Bo Peep. Who's responsible for saving them? Oh, those two idiots. That's great. Tell me a story about it.
Right, and then, of course, Oliver Hardy. He did do this bit one other time earlier in the film.
Oh, yeah.
But he explains what the boogeymen look like, and he's like, they have great big eyes and great big arms and teeth all over the body.
They got great big ears and a great big mouth and hair all over their body.
Oh, right.
And these long, sharp claws that they grab you with.
Yeah, and everyone screams and runs off, and they think, oh, it's the story he's telling. But behind them, Barnaby and all these fucking boogeymen break through the gates.
Oh, my God, dude. They kick down this fucking door, and there's an army of them.
Yeah. They come rushing in with torches, tiki torches, and claws, and just pure carnage. And Oliver Hardy and Stan Laurel, they book it the fuck out of Dodge.
And then Gandalf's like, light the fires.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So the bogeymen are fucking tearing up Toyland, and Stan and Ollie run into the toy makers, the warehouse, and they start throwing darts at these fucking things.
Stanny goes, he upgrades his peewees to darts, steel darts.
Well, yeah, they're throwing these darts, and Ollie's like, I got an idea, grab your fucking peewee stick. So they go outside, and they start fucking peeweeing these darts. And we were talking about before, and Connor was saying, Stan Laurel in real time is hitting these fucking darts and smacking them into bogeymen, and the camera just holds on him while he's just cracking these fucking things one after another.
Just the amount of practice would have been just mind shattering, because
it's impressive.
Every one of his hits is super clean, and it doesn't ever look sloppy. They have the best takes every time.
This would all be CG now.
Yeah, well, even when they include some reverse footage and whatnot, it looks a little crappy, but you got to think about again the time period.
Oh, when it goes next to Barnaby's face and stuff. That shit is so endearing to me.
Yeah, because he gets two right next to Barnaby, and Barnaby again, classic face fault. He looks shocked.
Oh yeah.
So Laurel just a little bit to the right. You would have got him right in the temple.
There's a point where Ollie's just throwing darts into the ground, and Stan is just whacking them, and they're just going rapid fire. It's all practical. It's fucking great.
They have the little baby in the tree that the boogeyman's trying to get. He knocks it out of the fucking tree.
And then Mickey Mouse is like, I'm gonna do an air raid. Everybody get ready.
This is the scene where Cybo Man would have just decimated them all.
And then he gets into his fucking his wartime blimp. Starts dropping ordnance onto these fucking boogeymen.
All on the ass cheeks.
This monkey in the mouse suit is turning the key to wind up the fucking blimp, steering the blimp, moving the steering wheel and flying it out of the fucking window.
That's why I thought it might be a little person, because the movements were very specific and very, very intricate.
It's a monkey.
That's amazing.
Definitely some relation to Cybo Man. I don't think it is actually Cybo Man, but maybe a relative.
Mickey went to the Peter Weller School of Tolerance. Is that's it, everybody dies.
Here you go.
Falling down, Mickey style.
Fucking dropping those little snappers on these fucking things.
Yeah, he takes a bunch out, and then Stan, he gets a little too loose with these peewee darts, and he takes the fucking blimp out, and the monkey jumps out.
It has a parachute.
And Mickey comes down parachuting like it's a World War II film.
I fucking love it, dude.
And then we have the three little pigs defending their home. They have this fucking, trip trap with a fucking, a jump rope.
Yeah.
And the pig runs in, and then they pull the rope tight, and the boogeyman falls, and the other pig runs out with a fucking balloon and hits him in the head with it.
It's like they become the Ewoks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they get a couple like that, and then they even get Barnaby like that at one point. They whack his ass in the face with this balloon.
So all this mayhem's going on, and the town's fighting back, and then finally Stan gets the bright idea to use the wooden soldiers TM, and fucking him and Ollie start cranking these or pressing all the buttons on the backs of these things, and then they all line up to fucking march out of this place and kick some fucking bogeyman ass.
There is a really cool shot of when they're marching into stop motion stuff.
Yeah.
It's a low angled shot of all these toy soldiers walking towards the camera. It's just really cool looking for being so old.
Mm-hmm. In unison too. So it's like,
yeah, in unison.
And and again, it's no CG. These are all practical stop motion things. So there's like, I don't know, 100 of these fucking things all animated at the same time in unison.
Yeah, it looks good. And they even have Stan and Ollie on the side, like fist bumping and shaking hands and shit.
Yeah, I love the fact these soldiers who've been alive for 10 seconds are like, a threat identified.
Oh my god, right?
Well, that's what we're saying.
They're like Terminators.
Dude, they go in, they march in, Barnaby's carrying Bo Peep out like he won the fucking day. And these 100 soldiers march out, and he looks like he's about to shit his pants.
They just kick the shit out of these Bogeymen.
They fucking get stabbed, and there's an explicit scene where one of these soldiers steps on a fucking bogeyman's head and squishes it.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
We even see one going after Bogeymen, and its fucking head gets removed, but it keeps coming.
Dude, it's creepy.
That's terrifying, actually. Because you see the moment where his head pops off, like he just walks through a door frame.
Yeah, right.
Door and all, and like the head just pops right off, and you're like, oh fuck. But then like, yeah, the next cut is he's walking through the back door of this house, just pursuing this boogeyman.
It's really well done, and we even see Barnaby get chased off, and those blocks fall. Those big blocks spell out R-A-T.
Trap his ass in there.
And that's where John Hurt appears, off camera, takes Barnaby under his wing.
In your timeline, this is where you die.
Yeah, he like appears next to him, like inside wherever he's trapped, and he's like, "Hello, Barnaby." So he grabs his ass and fucking they teleport out of there, huh?
Yeah. Into the MDU.
Yep.
Barnaby's a changed man after that. He is learning the future technologies of the universe.
To recoup, he's like fucking Snoke picking up Kylo Ren, yeah.
A little bit. So then, the Bogeymen get fucking pushed out of town, back behind that gate, and they all get eaten by crocodiles.
Oh, they push him right into that fucking water.
And you know what? Stanny, he's got an idea to send him off with a bang. He puts all the extra darts in his fucking cannon, and they're gonna fire it at the Bogeymen. Even they already shut the gate, but I guess the idea is they're gonna get him on the way out.
Yep, one last gag.
Let's murder him.
But when he lights the fuse, I don't know, it's a little bit weighted incorrectly, I suppose, and it flips around and shoots about 100, maybe 200 or 300 darts at fucking Oliver Hardy's back.
And he's blown apart in a big giant red mist of viscera and limbs. No, he's fine. They're all stuck in him uniformly along his back and legs.
Yeah, I don't know how he's alive after this.
And Stanley's pulling them out of his ass, and we're all laughing our asses off as the credits roll, and Toyland is saved.
And then Oliver Hardy died from, lead poisoning.
Oh my god!
A week or two later, because that was a lot of fucking metal just inserted into your body in a very rapid time period.
Everyone's like, why did you just pull those out? That's how you create puncture wounds. What were you thinking?
He couldn't lay on his back for weeks.
So what food is this on our Thanksgiving spread, fellas?
This is canned cranberry sauce. It's delicious, and I love it, and I prefer it over other forms of cranberry sauce. God, this is cozy and enjoyable, and like it's going back to it as an adult is both surreal and really amusing because it is this weird, dreamlike, fantasy world. You don't get to see a whole lot of this now, especially all practical. And it's one of the few things we watched in here that I have lots of built-in nostalgia for, but I also hadn't seen it since I was like, I don't know, maybe 10, like really, really young. So the only thing I remembered was the peewees stuff towards the end when they were smacking the darts into the Bogeymen. That was it. That was all I could remember. And like flashes of Barnaby, and that's it. So yeah, going back and visiting this was really fun, and I'm glad we did it.
Oh, absolutely. I think I said this. Spoilers. I think I said this for another or the other Thanksgarbage thing we're doing. But this is my fiance Julie's sweet potato pie casserole. It is delicious with layers of goodness. You got your sweet potatoes, you got your brown sugar, you got your cinnamon, you got your melted marshmallows. And they all come together in this combo wonderful a flavor burst of greatness. I watch this every year. I think I've watched this every year for Thanksgiving since I could fucking remember. Like, I can't remember a Thanksgiving where I did not watch this. It is very much a nostalgic thing for me, and it's a tradition that will continue for the rest of my life. And that's a pretty powerful thing to say. I mean, like, it's kind of like, you know, Christmas Story on Christmas for me, and I know a lot of people don't like that movie.
Well, those people are wrong.
Yeah, right? Well, it gets a 24-hour fucking marathon, so I guess maybe you're just an asshole. But anyway, yeah, this always brings everybody together, too, around the holidays, too. I feel like it's a thing that we do on Thanksgiving together, and it's been a good way to, like, connect on a different level again, like with Sean, because like it's in his family too, so like we kind of just like get it.
Oh yeah,
and it's almost like we're watching it together every year. You know what I mean? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It's kind of like one of those things where it's like oh, you know, you look up at the moon and we're looking at the same moon, so we're kind of doing it together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep. I know that's all. I know that's kind of cheesy thing to say, but it makes me feel good and kind of cozy and kind of. I guess what I'm saying is like if you're watching this, we're all kind of watching it together. So we have this kind of
reliving our childhoods almost.
Reliving our childhoods, having this kind of distance companionship, which is something that I think we could all use right about now. You know?
Absolutely.
So if you're firing it up on Thanksgiving, just know I'm watching it. We're probably all going to watch it. So you'll be watching it with us in your hearts and your spirits and what have you. But yeah, this fucking movie is so good. And I think it's going to be here another 8,500 years from now, and people are still going to be enjoying it. So it's one of those timeless classics. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we don't blow each other off the face of the planet, I think March of the Wooden Soldiers will survive.
I think so. Well, put that into time capsules, or put that in a fucking cannon and shoot it into space so it sticks around.
Right, or into a fallout shelter, you know, one or the other.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
VHS copy, of course, so that nobody can play it in the inevitable post-nuclear future.
That's all they're going to get from me.
I'm going to say this is like the green bean casserole or like the green bean amandine, depending on how you prepare it.
Okay.
On the Thanksgiving Day plate. It's an old standby every year. I look forward to it. It's not quite the entree per se. I mean, when I ate meat, turkey was always, I went back for seconds and thirds probably every Thanksgiving. But now, it depends on what I get. I might get some kind of vegan replacement stuffing or some kind of vegan shepherd's pie, possibly.
Tofurkey?
Yeah, I've never actually had tofurkey, to be perfectly honest. I don't know if this is the year I'm going to pull the trigger on it either. But I found many good replacements. But my point is, green bean casserole on the side. I like this movie quite a bit. I will say, though, that the singing parts, which, granted, it is a large portion of the film, I always kind of dislike that part. I remember as a kid even fast-forwarding those scenes when we would watch it on tape. We would just skip over that part.
That is a crime.
Oh, yeah, we were Tom singing the fucking Bo Peep on the shoe. That got fast-forwarded most of the time. Bo Peep, We Found Your Sheep, that we usually watched that. Sandman, we didn't even have it at the time. And the rest, I think we just watched as is. But, it was a regular fixture in the house. We had it on Betamax, for crying out loud, and VHS, and every other format. In fact, the only reason I had a digital copy on Amazon Prime was because I bought my dad the Blu-ray like 5 or 6 years ago, and it must have just come with it.
Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Pretty good transfer, by the way. I mean, nothing... I'd like to see if there's a 4K transfer, just out of morbid curiosity to see what that even is. Because this digital Amazon Prime copy is pretty good. It didn't blow me away, but it was well done. And since it is a shelf movie in some capacity, I suppose, it's on my shelf for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're taking that green bean casserole and we're slopping it into the mouth of the Baldwin statue, somewhere between the tonic bottles and the garbage bags and the pepperoni slices and all the flies and melted Bo Derek leg and everything else.
Oh man, you got a full meal there.
Yeah, I got some kind of beef jerky in somebody's arm from one of the movies.
I can't wait for next year when this finally goes all Akira, and then
I think it already is full Akira, to be perfectly honest. I'm just trying not to look it in the face, right in the eyes. I don't know. I think I saw an eyeball move once or twice while I've been in here recording. It's literally right in front of me, inches from my nose the entire time I'm doing this podcast. It's a miracle I'm actually able to breathe in here. But yeah, green bean casserole down the gullet. It somehow ends up in the chest area into that vault. It doesn't get there via the typical proper way, so it probably fucks the whole statue up. But it's in there, and it always will be there. And like Joe said, I watch this every year, or at least I put it on every year with the intention of watching it. And sometimes it just is background noise, to be perfectly honest. But
it's on.
It's always on. Yeah, it's hard not to throw it on. Bullshit on my phone. Maybe throw the parade on because usually it's on in the morning, around the time the parade goes. Where if you want to see Santa Claus, if you want to see that Pikachu balloon. You gotta see Charlie Brown flying down Main Street. You gotta watch the parade. I'm kind of curious to see what that's gonna be like with COVID, and if you're going out for the parade on COVID, I'm assuming that's not gonna be a thing with the sanctions in New York. But
yeah,
now that I'm talking about it, I wonder if they even are doing it. I haven't looked it up at all. This is the first time I've even thought about it. So I'll probably
just spin an old one. Like last year's.
Yeah, which one had Goku? Because that one blew me the fuck away. When I was like, I'm like, Goku's in a Macy's Day Parade. Like, what planet am I on?
I don't know. Go find that one and watch it. That's probably a good one.
Maybe I'll do that. Instead of the Yule log, I'll put on the Macy's Day Parade, and I'll skip all the music on that one, too. Just go right to the balloons.
Yeah, and then you hear Al Roker go, "Here comes Super Saiyan Blue Goku." I'm like, oh my god, what is happening?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. That's all I got to say about that. It's a classic.
Yeah, man. So as tradition goes, just like watching this film on Thanksgiving, each year so far, for our 3 years, we have gone around and, said what we were thankful for. We heard all these great stories and comments that our listeners have written in, and they're really sweet. And I kind of want to just do it, get our what we're thankful for, fellas. So whoever wants to go first on this one.
I'm thankful for this show, especially this year, because this year has been quite challenging for me. And I could always rely on this as somewhere to retreat and be kind of away from all that. So definitely the show and all the people taking time to interact with me on social media. God, you're all so nice. So yeah, that's mine, short and sweet.
Yeah, no, that's sweet. Yes, it's been a fucking year for sure for everybody. I'm thankful for the community that we have, kind of built up around this show and how everybody, all our listeners have contributed to that and been there for us and for each other, both, privately and publicly. It's really great. It feels good to have supporters like you cheering us on, for doing what we love and supporting those dreams. And I'm also thankful for my fiance Julie, who is always there to hold me up and cheer me on and pick me up when the chips are down and really see the best in myself and to believe in myself and keep going and don't give up on anything. So very thankful for that. And of course you guys, I love being able to get together with you guys we don't do it every week now, but every time we do get together, we get to bullshit and talk about movies, which is one of my most favorite things to do. I guess that's why we started doing a show about it, right?
Yeah, we hate it.
Especially like even just a quick peek behind the scenes, like when we did the commentary track, that was such a blast because it's been such a long time since I hung out with my friends and got to watch a movie together. And we got to do that, and we're going to do a lot more of those. So that was really great for me, for my mental health and everything too. So yeah.
I'm thankful for a lot of things. This show kind of goes without saying. I'll say it. I'm thankful for the show. I think we all are.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And like Joe said, the community that we've built on this show with you guys, the listeners, And especially through like Patreon this year, getting to know a few of you a little better, and getting a little bit more one-on-one. Obviously, we talk via the Facebook and Instagram and the old Gmail, but we got a little bit more personal over on Patreon, and maybe we can expand on that. But even on our Instagram and Facebook, it's been nice to kind of get to know you guys even better than we have up until this point. And we're going on our 4th season soon, and it's kind of surreal when you think about it. Like, we just did 100 episodes. And we just keep rolling on, like it doesn't end there. And of course, thankful for my girlfriend. And I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm thankful that I got through most. I mean, hopefully this lockdown is mostly figured out by the middle of next year. But I guess I'm thankful that I personally haven't had any major repercussions from this whole situation. I mean, there's obviously been some financial things, but beyond that, I didn't get COVID. Knock on wood, hopefully I don't get COVID. We've known some people that have gotten it, and some relatives and acquaintances and even some friends that have gotten it. And, a few people have passed away, and thankfully I haven't gotten it. My girlfriend hasn't gotten it, or our immediate family hasn't gotten it. So that's something I'm actually pretty thankful of. And I hope just anybody listening at home, if you have gotten it, or people that have gotten it, our thoughts are with you, and we want you guys to just do what we're doing, and stay safe if you can during the holidays and the rest of the year, and hopefully 2021's not gonna happen, and then we're gonna have the cure. I mean, we're getting damn close. They have these vaccines starting to come out of testing, and I'm optimistic that is something I really. I mean, we talk about it on the show. We try not to go heavy duty into that because, it has become somewhat of a political issue, and that's really not the point at the end of the day. But if we can make it next year with this thing behind us, this whole COVID madness, that would be something to really be thankful for. But I think we're in a I don't know. I know I'm a bit rambling here, and I'm talking a little bit more generally, but I think that was such a focus this year for everybody. Especially in the United States, that I don't know. I'm finally starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm not trying to rush this and because the numbers are up. But I don't know. I'm not trying to go on some big COVID rant. I guess what I'm saying is I'm thankful that I didn't get it, and that I hope people listening to this, if you did get it, feel better. If you haven't, keep doing what you're doing, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I think we'll all make it out of this.
Sure.
Okay, if we keep it up. But my thoughts are out there to anybody that's been impacted by it negatively, whether it was with the virus directly or your financial situation or anything along those lines. It's something that we think about if we don't always talk about, for sure.
Absolutely. And hopefully we can offer some type of relief from all the crazy shit going on for a couple hours for you.
Yes.
Totally
agree, Joe.
But yeah, so with that being said, I don't think this episode needs us to pitch any any Patreon shit. You guys know where to go, at least for this episode. I don't want to end it like that.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a bunch this episode, and in the past, I mean, we're definitely gonna, again, we love to thank our listeners. I mean, we've been talking about you guys.
Lots of thanks. It's Thanksgiving.
It's Thanksgarbage. Come on.
Thanksgarbage, yeah.
And all those dumpster dwellers digging in the garbage, looking for movies like this, plucking them out, and giving us thanks over on Patreon. So we'd like to thank Hunter Davenport, Brendan Lemune, The Autistic Gamer 89, Christopher, Jacob Chavez, Leonardo Roberto Talavero Barocio,
Texas Chainsaw 3D Gorlami.
Wow. Scarier every time.
Oh, God.
Amanda Tweed, Joe Has a Mustache, Dustin Elkins, Nick Lowry, Dalton Bell, Serge Murillo, Matt Collins, Tyler Monty, Lucio Fulci's Butt, Julie Lockwood, Kyle McDonald, Nicholas Walters, Justin Kiefer, Daniel Perhaps, and Jacob Fannenbach. Thank you all for being our patrons, and thanks everybody for listening.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Please stay safe, and we love you, and thanks for supporting the show.
And look out. It's coming soon.
Uh-oh.
We hear those jingle bells ringing.
Oh, they're fucking clacking up, dude. You hear them fucking reindeer hooves on the roof there? I think so.
Yeah. Prancer, rearing its ugly head.
Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen, they're all coming.
Yep.
Get ready for some trashing through the snow.
Reign of the Santa Clauses.
Oh, yeah. So that's it. That's Babes in Toyland, a.k.a. March of the Wooden Soldiers from 1934, directed by Gus Mines and Charlie Rogers. I'm Joel Escola.
I'm Sean O'Rourke.
I'm Connor McGraw.
Thanks for visiting the dumpster, and happy Thanksgiving.
Now you may kiss the bride.
What is the meaning of this?
Big bait catches big rat.